So this whole pile of chaos is Idea-ology Christmas. There's a lot of stuff that I'm excited to share with you. I'm going to talk about new products. I'm going to talk about kind of how I like to set up. There's just more than what could fit on frame. So I was like, I'm just going to start with just a pile of stuff because to me, there are so many great details in each SKU in Idea-ology. So I'm going to move the trinkets off to the side just a little bit. There we go. We'll talk about papery stuff first, and then we'll get into the embellishments. So first things first, we'll talk about our papers. Now, the backdrops, this is, of course, the paper for Idea-ology. Backdrops are really designed to be cut apart, to be used. It's not really your standard size of 12 by 12, 8.5 by 11. It's really meant that you could still use it on cards or scrapbook pages, but cut it up and use it. The backdrops, we wanted to put in a whole new slew of art, but we did want to also bring back some favorites. So if you like things like the grunge brick wall or peeled paint, like the chippy wood, some music, some certain wrapping papers, things from Warren Wallpaper. We did bring those elements back, but we also packed it with a lot of new. And you're going to see in the makes, there is a lot of new to backdrops. We have started dating our stuff. So for example, there's so much new in 2024. If there was a lot of stuff that maybe you've seen on previous makes, I do encourage you to check out backdrops from say last year because it has a lot of different art in it. But this is one of the first designs, this little house design. We did this in 2 scales. We did it in small and large because, well, Paula and I couldn't agree which one we wanted, but we liked it, so we did both of them. I'm not gonna go through every paper. This is another thing, this is one of my favorites, these grungy plaids. They're kind of a painted looking plaid. I think there's maybe 5 different ones. That was one of my favorites. See, there's another one. We also did some vintage wrap. These came from old gift boxes that we've scanned in. We did some really great ticking fabric. There's a couple of different colors and also some different orientations that have just some great age and foxing. There's a little holly, cigar box. There's that brick wall I was talking about, but there's also just some really pretty patterns, you know, so you've got some reds and greens in there. There's another one of those plaids. I mean, come on. Oh, so good. Poinsettias, a lot of different ephemera. So we like to take vintage ledgers and we like to blow things up. There's all different scales, so big and small. We love numbers. There you go. There's another one of those fabric ones. And see, fronts and backs are different. We love the palette. Also, just these great little numbers. Paula found this one. I love it with the black and the red. And then there's kind of this icy, I'll just say icy minty blue that we did in the back. If you recall, it was during, I'm going to say the Sizzix Live when I did the rosette card. This is what I did the rosette out of. When people asked about, you know, the color of that minty blue, this is what it was. So I did cheat and kind of use that paper early, but I had it, so I used it. So those are the Idea-ology backdrops, double-sided, 24 papers, so there's really 48 designs and just some great stuff to work with. Then in the paper realm, we also have this. This is the Craft Stock Sparkle, and you'll see it up close. It does have a really great shimmer sparkle to it. Tami B used it again. So different plaids. So we did this for Halloween and Christmas this year. This is a craft-based paper with a printed sparkle. So it's not a textured glitter, but it has a wonderful sparkly color, and you'll see, I'd rather show it on her makes than just sheets of paper. But I do love the Christmas plaids. If you're a fan of holiday plaids, this is a good one, really good one, because you could use it all the time. Then we did the large collage strips. So again, this is a larger scale than the traditional collage strips, but we did it in the everyday line, we did it in Halloween, and we did Christmas. And so shout out to Paula and Chris, because really this is them 100%. Other than me just observing, I just don't, this is way too much for my brain to comprehend, because it's so many little snippets that Paula's gone in and used things from backdrops and ephemera and photos and just created the most charming collage strips. Now, these strips, they could be used as a collage. You could obviously glue them on things, but you can also just cut them up and use them for card fronts. So if you wanted a square, you can cut out that section. If you wanted a rectangle or quick gift tag. So I want you to keep that in mind, that when it comes to collage strips, they're really great, not just for collage, but even if you need like a snippet of ephemera, because there's even some little clippings like all is calm, all is bright. Those guys, that's my favorite. But yeah, some really amazing elements. And I mean, look at all those. These are all individual, unique strips. Wow. So yeah, amazing. So cool. So sticker book came back. We did a minor update. We didn't do much, honestly, because last year the sticker book, this was the first thing to sell out last year. And the thing to know about seasonal is once Idea-ology seasonal is sold, it is gone for the season. They don't reorder it. It doesn't come back. So if you're new to the world of Idea-ology, or even if you're not, you know exactly already what it is, which is buy what you like, buy what you want, because when it's gone, all right? And usually it's gone well before the season. Well, a lot of people, because I think many people don't even start making for Christmas until November, unless you're one of those early makers. But yeah, usually heads out. So we've got clippings. Those are all those little book pieces. If you watch the fabric live when we did Holidays Past, this is what we use for that fabric. We just went in and kind of modified this page, just did some little trim. So these are, just imagine like little washi tape stickers, but they're not washi tape, they're more of a sticker. But we did these great thin trims that again could go across a journal. They could be chopped up to go on a card. They could wrap around something. There's also these nested little labels. So if you see, there's like one little frame, another frame, and then a label in both green and red. And then these were such a favorite last year because they're kind of like label maker in this wonderful green and wonderful red. So great for cards and tags, very, very quick makes, but also just everybody needs sentiments. So that was a good one. Then we'll talk about ephemera. So ephemera, we do like to update. We went in and we updated the ephemera. So again, Christmas 2024 ephemera is going to be different than 2023. It doesn't mean there's not going to be some repeats. Obviously, we repeat like the book covers or some of our favorite tags or calendars, but we always try to include some new things. This year, we included a lot of these great little addresses like streets, like 34th Street, post office, you'll see, because many people like to make little scenes or any type of storyline. So we wanted to put in some great little fun addresses. There's some great postcards. Also a lot of die cut greenery. It's packed with stuff. It's 140 pieces in this ephemera pack. A lot of stuff. So big and small, which is one of my favorites. I see a lot of people saying they didn't get their sticker book last year. So yeah, good to know. You know to stock up, don't you? Then we've got our layers and paper dolls. Again, Christmas 2024, different than 2023. There's a new cast of characters. This little drummer guy, he's new. But we also have some great botanicals. The difference, of course, between ephemera and layers, besides scale is always bigger on layers. Ephemera is a thin, uncoated paper, so it's slightly thinner than our backdrops, where layers is a thicker cardstock that has a coating. It is shiny, so it has a gloss finish, which is still great that you can tint with inks and crayons and pencils and all of that. But we've also included some portraits, so there's some large portraits. There's just so many different paper dolls tucked in. We've got some frames in there. That little fireplace is new. You'll see it. Some candy canes, some labels, a couple of great wreaths, some little photo booth. So we really pack it with a lot of fun, unique things. 82 pieces in here for the layers. So you'll see the layers are also, honestly, they're rigid enough that you can go in and just punch a hole in it and use it as a tag, because the back is white. So you can, so for example, if you wanted to just do a gift tag, you know, maybe you wanted this drummer guy as a gift tag. Okay. You could tint him, you could do whatever, but you could also just punch a hole and then you could write on the back if you wanted to. So that's another great thing about layers, is just because of how rigid they are. But we did 2 layers this year, and this was something, again, a shout out to Advantis for allowing me to do this last minute, and Chris for pulling it out. Here's the thing. I love to collect vintage boxes and snow boxes and tags, and if you've seen the holiday home tour, you know that my collection is quite huge. And Mario's like, okay, you need another snow box. Cool, I found another one, an ornament box. And I love this stuff. But we used to actually include a lot of this packaging with our Idea-ology stuff through the years, but honestly, the style that we do with like botanicals and photos, it didn't really mesh. And so a lot of this stuff from, like, you know, the early years of holidays, it just got pushed out of the line. But I had enough of it that I just said, you know what, I'm gonna bring this back, but I'm gonna do it as a separate SKU. So this year there are 2 layer SKUs. So just be mindful of that. So layers and paper dolls is what I talked about with all the photos. And then we have layers Christmas Emporium. Okay. Now this also has 84 pieces, but these pieces are big. because what I wanted to do is several different things. It's just one of my favorites. And these are all things that we've scanned in all of the boxes. So there might be like milk caps, which we used to have in Idea-ology, ribbon spools. There's also, let's see, like Tiny Tim ribbon candy. That's such a cool candy box I have. But then we did a lot of frames. These frames are actually inspired by the Idea-ology box tops. We used to do box tops that go over the vignette boxes, and many of you were asked to bring back the box tops. We didn't, but we brought them back this way. So the only difference is that these don't have the sides that go, you know, around the box, but this will still fit all of the vignettes. So this will fit, say, like the medium-sized rectangular, the large rectangular vignette. This will fit the square, and there's all different shapes and sizes in here, so you can still do your box top, and then for the edges of the box you can paint it or do papers or do whatever. But really, there's so many different things there. I mean, look at this one. This is such a great one. We've got trim from Christmas light boxes, candy cane boxes, snow boxes. There's just, it is packed with stuff. So if you like this kind of kitsch Christmas vibe, then this is definitely the pack for you. And again, so many of these pieces are, I mean, they're big. They're really big pieces, but this could be a journal cover. This could go on a card front, or again, this could be a tag, or this could be a quick Christmas card, like a Christmas postcard. Yeah, a lot of great elements. So I'm happy to bring it back. At least we got it back for 1 year. I'm not sure if it'll come back next year. It may or may not. That's the other thing. We never know what's going to return from the season until, well, the season. So yeah, we even did some bigger milk caps where, you know, we took the small ones and we made them a little bit larger. So yeah, they fit things like the Idea-ology pocket watch, or maybe you wanted to do ornaments, or who knows. So much fun. I love that. And I try not to open packages for this because I do get carried away with what it is, but it's really good. I'm going to hand this over to Mario. Thanks, Mario.
There's
a big pile.
I challenge you to find 5 boxes this year.
Oh, 5 is hard. With all that I have, it's hard to find. Then we're going to get into baseboards and transparencies. So there again, Christmas 2024, we have updated this. We put in quite a bit of new things. So again, I'm just going to take out just some of the stuff. Well, no, probably all of it, because that's just how I am. Who am I kidding? I always think, like, I'm not going to do it. All right. So we brought back the storefront window. We have this really great large arch window. We brought back the doors. Also, the red windows, we added a new red window. We've got this great baseboard frame. So baseboards are printed chipboard, so it's really thick chipboard. You can still cut this with a craft knife or your scissors. There's a lot of these quote chips, so you can add those. We have Santa, but this year we added a couple of things. We added a couple of sizes of these die-cut wreaths, so these are really perfect. But then we did these lamp posts. How fun are these? You'll see in the makes that you can use them as is. You can paint on them. You could even cut it out with a knife and put a little tiny light and actually light it up. So good. We did some Christmas signs. So again, if you wanted to add things to your scenes, not only do we have Christmas signs in some of the layers and the ephemera, but also baseboards. And we do that a lot because everyone makes a little different. Last year we introduced these little kind of leaded window transparencies that you can put behind these windows. And it was cool. We did a couple of different sheets, but we did hear from makers that it was, you know, like you had to sacrifice a whole sheet because you wanted to fit a certain window. So we decided to change it this year. So what we did is we did these transparencies that fit the specific windows in here. So for example, this transparency is even cut at an arch, so it already fits this one. Then you have, say, the larger one that's going to just fit across. So it doesn't need to fit the whole baseboard. It's just going to fit the opening. And so we did that for all of the windows. So we did this leaded window for that. But then we added snow, because I thought, how fun would that be to just kind of do little snow flurries as well? So same thing. We got the 4 transparencies that will fit each of the baseboards. So now when you put it behind, you get that little snowy thing. But you can use these without the baseboard. If you wanted to use it maybe for a little shakety shake window, it already has the snow on it. And you can also double up. So if you wanted both of these transparencies and you wanted to put it back there, you could do that. So it's just a lot of fun. And again, it's always the thought that goes in when we approach the line that we're like, okay, how did makers use it? How would it be different? And what can we do different this year? So I do love that. Oh, there's the other little wreath. So baseboards and transparencies for 2024, packed with a lot of cool, fun things. I'll give you this. Thanks,
Thank you.
Mario.
Sure.
I got a pile. Let me give you a few more pieces.
Here, yeah, I'll take it off. Open it
All
up.
right.
Enjoy it all.
All right. Okay, then we've got this one. Okay, collage paper. I love collage paper because this is a printed tissue that when you use collage medium, the tissue becomes translucent, so it looks as if you stamped on things. And we did this in the everyday line. We did this for Halloween and Christmas. So cool. So this is the different art. I'm just gonna, again, gosh, pick these up. Super simple. So the great thing about this, again, it's really, really thin, but when you use collage medium, this white will become translucent. You'll see in some of the makes, so you can put this onto wood, you can put it onto fabric, you can put it onto cards. This one is designed that you could either use a brush, like a wet brush will dissolve the paper, allowing you to pull it apart, or you can cut it. But we even took things like, this might look familiar. This is one of the stamps I did for Stampers Anonymous, but we made it way bigger, something you couldn't achieve with the stamp because I wanted a different scale. Same thing here, inspired by stamp from Stampers Anonymous. So I love the fact this is mixed. This is from a backdrop that we did. This was some of the art where I designed a stamp set. There's just so much stuff. If you recall this one, this was from an idea-ology backdrop. There's just a lot of great elements, and you get duplicates, you get multiple sheets, so you can collage on all types of things. You can color these. You can color them in advance, but they are a bit challenging because they're super thin. So my advice is to apply it to a surface and then color it, be that with inks, or maybe you want to use distressed watercolor pencils. But yeah, it's just a cool SKU. It doesn't really look that exciting in the package, but you get a lot of great thin ephemera that you can put on top of things. Okay? All right. Thanks, Mario.
Sure.
All right, then we're going to get into the trinkety bit. So there's a lot of stuff that came back. These are baubles. So baubles have come back. Gosh, I don't even know how many years it is now, but they're pearl, they're pearlescent, but they do not have any holes, so they're not beads. These are great for ornaments or all types of things. Holiday bells came back another year, so these are just different size tarnished silver bells. So there's everything from old school jingle bells to classic jingle bells to even like little Liberty bells. Tiny lights. Now this little mark here, this is Christmas, so that means these are going to be a multicolored strand. We have tiny lights in the everyday line that are just white. Other things that came back, these are confections. So these are the little candy canes, the little mint sticks, the little peppermints in red and green. So those came back. These also came back. I couldn't believe how fast these sold out last year. Really, it was crazy. These are pine cones. These are little resin pine cones, but they are amazing. They're so cool what you can do with them, and I'll bring in the muffin tin and you can see how you can alter these. But yeah, these were gone. I think because a lot of people just bought a pack, and then when you used it, you realized, okay, I probably should have got like 3 or 4 packs, and that's the truth. And you couldn't find them. You couldn't find them anywhere. I even sent a lady my stash from the studio because she was like mid-project and didn't have them. This one came back too. This is Festive Marquee. I'm so happy this came back. These are a heavy metal embellishment. So this is something that can go on a vignette. It can go inside a wreath. It can be done for a lot for home decor, but I love just that old school typography on there. These came from a vintage plastic marquee that I had. So I love that we're able to shrink it down. It's so dimensional. God, I love those. Happy they came back. These came back, the salvage reindeer. So these are made out of resin. You can use paints, you can do collage on there, you can do glitter, you can do ink. There's a lot of inspiration for the stuff that has come back. You can see, again, just search any of the idea-ology Christmas, or just go to timholtz.com and type in idea-ology Christmas, and you'll see all the different years and the inspiration. Then we have salvage figures. So we have salvage figures, small and large. Now, if your retailer is out of stock of these, this is something that also is coming in mid-October when the Santa mugs come in. But because these are returning, I think that a lot of retailers still have stock of this. But if you see these suddenly sold out, let's say within the next week, don't freak your freak. Just know there's another batch of these coming in mid-October with the Santa mugs. But these are amazing because they're resin figures. There's 2 sizes. We've got the snowman, the Santa, and the toy soldier. I love these salvage figures. You'll see from the makes how you can alter them. You'll also see just from the muffin tin what you can do. Then let's see. We've got our word plaques and tags. So this was something, again, that we kind of updated. We modified just a little bit. So this has a large quote, I think it's, I'm going to say quote plaque, quote band. What have we called them? I've called them like word bands, quote plaques. I don't know. Anyway, I always change, we change the sentiment. So this year has good tidings of comfort and joy. We did Merry Christmas. Last year's we did that shape seal, I think, of a star. This time we put in tiny little tags. So this says, I'm getting the light to hit it. Sweets, wishes, wonder. Then there's a little star and a little 25. So these are really nice. Again, you'll see how these can be altered. You knew this was coming. I'm so happy. Figure stands.
Oh
I love figure stands. I have to say, figure stands probably won't be around. I mean, I would love if they came back next year, but we've done 2 everyday SKUs of figure stands. We did the Halloween figure stands, but take a look at these holiday ones. We've got that deer, the wreath, and the snowflake. These are 3-dimensional, so it's like completely sculpted on both sides, and they just sit on these little stands. Oh, I love them. I agree, Tracy. I love figure stands.
You'd put them over the edge.
I think the thing about figure stands, really, like, just get them and look at them. Like, even if you don't use, I mean, and I don't normally say that as far as like crafting supplies, but this is something where you just, I mean, you'll see how you use them because the makers use them. You put them in everything. That's the idea of a figure stand. It's like a charm that you can elevate, and so it actually looks like something instead of something you glue to the wall. But they're also just cute lined up. They really are. Yeah. So that's all I'm saying is, I mean, it'd be great if they come back, but if they don't, you kind of got a little hint that they may not because they are quite stressful to bring in. Then we've got a couple of things. Woodland trees, I talk about these. I can't believe they're still in ideology, and I'm so happy. So thank you guys for supporting these every year. These are a natural sisal tree. So the nice thing about having a natural tree versus the synthetic plastic bottle brush trees, these are all colorable. You can use inks, you can use any kind of spray inks, you can use Kool-Aid, you can use food coloring, you can use whatever you want to color these because they will absorb the color. Could you use alcohol ink? Yes, but it would be a waste because you would have to use quite a bit. So a water-based ink is all you need, and you can do a lot of great techniques. So we have the Woodlands tree lot. This is a big tree, 2 mediums, 2 small, and then Alpine, which we released last year, which are taller and a little skinnier. And this has 2 large and 2 medium alpine trees. So these are the woodland trees. I'll just bring this in just so you kind of get an idea just from a scale. So see, they are different. So like alpine just has a slightly different shape to it. They're all great to work with, and you could trim it if you want. But back in the day, when woodlands first came out, we actually did a pack of woodland wreaths. It didn't do well because they look like really chunky donuts. It did not work. So I said this year, I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if we just kind of took the material that we did the wreath out of, but did them as strips, because then we can make garlands. You could make a wreath with it. You could do all types of things. And these are the woodland garland. And you'll see, I'll just give you just kind of a quick little demo on how these work. But I'm very excited that we were able to do this because it does open up a lot of possibilities to use woodlands in different ways. You'll see, because you can trim the back and glue it flat to a card. You can use it as an ornament, but you can also adorn a vignette box. So this is new this year, the woodland garland. I love that. All right, so I'm going to hand you this, Maria, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
I'll take that. I'm going to give you all this stuff. You have a basket. I'll just throw it all in. There's a lot of stuff. So this is all like the current stuff that came in. Thanks, Mario. And then we have one more thing. The thing to me that is just, well, he's everything, okay? And that would be Santa mugs. If you follow me on social and you've seen any photos of our, it scared me, of our holiday decor, you know that I love vintage Santa mugs. It is a collectible from a lot of people. They come in different sizes and they all have different expressions, and there's so many different manufacturers through the years. It's just incredibly cool. And I knew that when we did the trick or treat for Halloween, that little jack-o'-lantern and the cat, that the factory had the potential of really recreating great vintage with great detail. This has been the biggest challenge ever, I'm not going to lie, because, well, they're little mugs. So here's the original that we sent in. This is the Santa mug. It is vintage, and I just loved his expression. It was so cute, and this is a mini one. So if you're familiar with Santa mugs, the bigger ones are like regulation size. This is a mini Santa mug. And this is the idea-ology Santa mug. So when you see the scale, it is so adorable. You see, you may not really even kind of fathom the scale when you see it online, but it is tiny. It's just over an inch. It's like an 1.1 inches tall, this little one. And it is a little mug, so you can fill it with baubles or confections or trees or any of that. And they are just, it's the cutest thing ever. They are all hand painted. So, you know, embrace imperfection, much like these. I mean, like these vintage ones, I mean, these were all hand painted. I think that's what makes them even more charming. But the expression, I mean, it is spot on detail. And that's really what it is. It's like, I wanted the color, the red, the detail, everything about it perfect. And it's like, well, every time you change something and you want it, it's just going to delay the shipping. I'm like, that's all right. At least I know when they get here, they will be perfection.
It's so fun seeing them side by side.
They're cute. So this can make a great ornament, obviously just hang it on the tree, but perfect to tie on packages. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do with the Santa mugs in addition to the makes, which you'll see. Okay. So real quick, before I get on to the retired stuff, I'm just going to talk about the Santa mugs and the trees and all that. Then we'll get into altering things. So I told you before we get into the makes, there's a lot of things to know. So first of all, the woodlands, as I mentioned, they could be any color you want. And I've shown this through the years, so you can go find videos of coloring. You can color them with a lot of different products. So in the distress world, I like to use spray stain. I also love oxide, because oxide is almost like a paint where it gives it a matte finish, or your mica stain, which will give it that little bit of shimmer. So the trees could be colored, but these are the garlands. I was just playing around with them because, again, if you follow on social and you've seen what I've done, say with bottle brush trees at Easter, where you kind of make the carrots and you squish them down while they're wet. If you just spray the woodland garland, it's gonna take color like a dream and stay fluffy. If you spray it with other things, so these are like the fluffy ones. I think this is peeled paint. I think this is bundled sage. This I think is rustic wilderness. Oh no, this is tree lot. This is mica stain tree lot. Doesn't really has a little bit of a sheen to it. See, you can kind of see when the light hits it because of the pearlescent. But this is when you spray them, but instead of just letting it dry on its own, you scrunch it in a paper towel and let it dry that way. And then it pushes it down. And to me, it gives it much more of a realistic look. It also makes it much flatter, so it's not super fluffy. This one is done with oxide spray, so you can see it just gives it almost like a painted look. And this is done with spray stain. But see, that's, to me, it just gives it way more of an authentic look by smashing it. And then, of course, I had this idea, because you know it, during the Halloween hoopla, I'm going to be doing some Halloween garlands. Don't just think this is about Christmas. You're going to see some bones in here and some skulls. And, you know, because, again, you could do a garland, or you just put the ends together, and now you have a Halloween wreath. Again, with the skull and bones, so I can't wait. Marina's like, what are you using black? I'm like, I'm balancing Christmas, I'm channeling Christmas, but I'm really thinking Halloween, because I can't wait to work with it. Then we're going to talk about these guys. Now, there are ways to alter him. Although he is as cute as can be, there are ways to alter him. The first one is to make him sparkly and just give him the most charming little sugar coat. Now, there are a million ways to do this. I am going to share my way, okay? You can try it a ton of different ways and do your own thing, but this is what I found to be the easiest and to keep all of the detail in this mug. I used resist spray, poured some in just a container. I didn't spray it on, I just poured some in a little cup. I painted on resist spray, and then I used rock candy. Rock candy is a crystal clear glitter. It doesn't have any metallic, and it's just like sugar. So I just had a container of it, and after I painted, just dumped it on, coated it, and let it dry. And to me, it just gives me the lightest little dusting of sugar. Could you use things like glossy accents, collage medium? Yes, but I feel that thicker adhesives attract more glitter. More glitter diffuses what's behind it. And I didn't want to compromise his detail. I didn't want to fill in any of the detail, like in his beard, with a glue. So that's why I chose to use resist spray as my adhesive. But again, you do you. But that's what I did. Rock candy, resist spray for the sparkly one. Then if you're a collector of any kind of Santa mugs, maybe your Santa mugs are a little dirty, a little grungy. So instead of it being perfectly clean and shiny, maybe you want it kind of dingy. Now, these do have a gloss finish. They were designed to have a gloss finish, but if you want to take off the gloss finish and kind of lose the shine, you have a couple of options. One, distress crayons. That's the easiest. Color it on, get a wet brush or your fingers, rub it in, smudge it, and you're done. You're good to go, okay? If you want to really give it like this dirty, kind of smudgy look, you could use alcohol ink, but be warned. So listen up, this is super important. Alcohol ink will remove this paint. It will strip it down and make it super sticky. So if you do it, which I did, you need to drip it on. You need to maybe manipulate it with like a piece of foam or maybe some rubbing alcohol for like a second, and then you're going to see it starts to get really sticky and starts to pull off some of the color. You need to stop and let it dry. If you wipe it with this alcohol on it, it will run this red everywhere, okay? So crayons are your easiest because you don't have to worry. But smudge alcohol ink is I just dripped it on. I kind of spritzed it with a little isopropyl and let it just run and do its thing, and I let it dry. But if you touch it right away, paint will get all over your fingers because, well, alcohol removes paint, okay? But just keep that in mind. You can definitely do it. And then if you are a true collector, you know that if you have a crazing, one with crackle, with fine little cracks in there, take a look at it. Crackle is all, I mean, really, when you find a mug that's got that perfect little crack crazing, that's everything. Here's how you do that. You're going to use 2 different products for this. You're going to need collage medium first, and you need to paint the mug with collage medium. Because if you just use crackle paint directly on the mug, the paint will crack, but it won't stick and it will fall off. Because remember, this is shiny, has a shiny finish. So collage medium, because it is matte, and makers have used this trick on to put crackle on glass bottles or anything. So if you've done it before, it's exactly the same thing. Collage medium matte, it dries clear, but it also dries with a matte finish, which provides a little bit of tooth, a little bit of something for the paint to grab. So after the collage medium dries, which maybe is a minute or 2, or you could use a heat tool on it, then you're going to use crackle paint translucent. So this isn't a paste, this is old school crackle paint. You paint it on and you let it dry. Don't heat it, don't use a fan, don't do anything, just put it on. You want to put it on fairly thin, only because, I mean, thin enough where when you paint it on, it looks wet, but it shouldn't be dripping everywhere. And then you'll see it. You're just going to get this perfect little crackly craze. After it dries, to make this crackle stand out, see how it's stained? I just went in with crayons. So you can just use a little bit of crayon, a little bit of water, and then the color soaks into wherever those little crackles are. And I'll post close-up photos of these on social just so you can see them. So there's definitely ways that you can alter the Santa mug, be that sparkly or smudgy or crackly. It's so much fun. I think it's really, really good. Someone asked, can we prime with clear gesso? You can try that. I don't use clear gesso, but I'm guessing that would work the same because it's going to provide tooth. So give it a whirl. Let us know. All right. So far, so good. I know. I'm just going to put these off to the side so I can look at them and smile, but I wanted to put this up, and it's really good. Okay. So some ways to alter our current things. I always talk about the muffin tin because I think having a muffin tin filled with trinkets, this is something that I like to do. In fact, I even spent this week, I spent a day just doing stuff for this, just prepping the stuff. I loved it. So there's ways that you can alter, like the pine cones. So the pine cones, really simple. We'll do a lot of this in the holiday hoopla, but I just take a little bit of white paint, put it on my fingers, and just literally pick up the pine cone, roll it, and it just touches the high points. And then you can do some glitter. You can do rock candy. I like a little sparkle. The salvage figures, there's some great tutorials online. Richele has done tutorials. I believe Tami has. I know Stacy has, where they paint these salvage figures just with distress paint or acrylic paint. Let it dry. Then you can go in and sand it a little bit. And then you can do rock candy. Rock candy for the win. I mean, remember last year we had those big jars of rock candy? I still have 5 of them. And I use a lot. But yeah, it's a great way that you can alter these figures. I mean, they look so vintage and so real. Just watch a tutorial. It's much, much easier than you think. A little distressed crayon kind of tints them, but isn't that crazy to go from, you know, just something plain and simple like that into something sparkly. This tutorial I followed, Vicki did this, that crazy chick. I love this because this is like, looks like an old metal toy. She has a great tutorial on her blog for that she did last year, but that's just using foundry wax and paint and alcohol ink, and it's a process, but man, it looks so good. Really cool. These are the bubbles from Halloween. So there are some things from Halloween that you're going to want to keep in mind, especially this time of year if you're purchasing. So bubbles are different than baubles. Baubles, these are the pearl, these are the baubles. Bubbles are from Halloween, but they make the best snowballs. This is a little bit of glossy accents on your finger, or you can try resist spray and then just throw it in rock candy and they become snowballs. Even if it misses some areas, that's the best part of it. It makes them look really icy. So I prep a bunch of snowballs. It's great to turn these, but again, these are only available at Halloween. So it's important that if you're gonna get them and you're gonna make snowballs, that you have extras. Maybe you've used them for your cauldron. You'll also see some other things in Makes. Drippy candles. This is a Halloween SKU, but it's great for Christmas. And these are also really great. These are the conservatory we did for Halloween. So the pedestal, the urns, these are perfect for little woodland trees or drippy candles. So keep that in mind as you're still doing your Halloween shopping, thinking of Christmas. But that's how I did snowballs. These are the baubles. I love these. There's a lot of videos showing these, but we probably will do it again in the hoopla. But these look like vintage mercury glass ornaments. It is just alcohol ink on those baubles because they're pearl. That's what gives it this beautiful metallic finish. And it's nice because they're not glass and they're way cheaper than the vintage ornaments. You can glue them on all types of things. You can also glitter up your confections. So see, again, I do the same thing. I do a little bit of glossy accents on my fingers and throw it into rock candy. But if glossy accents is too sticky, try resist spray because it's just as sticky, but it's way more fluid. So that'll give you some work time. Trees, I love the trees. I also love icicles, which we're going to talk about in a bit. I love to, because the icicles come like this, but I love to add rock candy to those. It's crazy how you can transform that into something icy and glittery. But you can use mica flakes. I mean, there's so many things that you can do. So I love just having a tray of stuff. Even if you're like going to paint metal charms. These are charms that we had last year. They did not come back this year. But they start out like that, a little bit of distress paint, wrote off. But these are all things, when I talk about compartmental making for the holiday season, this is what I mean. Like, you don't have to actually make anything, but you can spend a day just painting your salvage figures and glittering the pine cones and confections, or making snowballs, or inking your trees, and you have it. So when you go to make, you don't have to stop and actually start and make a Santa. You just get to like stick it on. Okay. So really, really important too. And if you don't have a muffin tin, however you're going to stay organized, that's really important. Okay. Whew, a lot of stuff. Now we're going to talk about the stuff that did not come back, but is still available as of yesterday, last night when I was prepping. I found this stuff online. So if you're interested in any of this stuff did not come back. It has all been retired, but it is still available until it is gone. So first we'll talk about like backdrops. So again, 2023, this would be last year's backdrops. You can see it had a lot more florals, some completely different kind of plaids. This is when we scanned in some fabrics. That's where you can see that pine piece. There's a lot of great elements in this backdrops, and you can always tell by the date. That's backdrops 2023. Worn wallpaper. I know a lot of people love this. This was a great SKU. This is actually textured like wallpaper. It's got a cool little texture paper. This did not come back, but the trims, this even had some die cuts, but this paper is so unique than anything else. I absolutely love worn wallpaper, but it just didn't come back because we had to consolidate to bring in some new stuff. So that also didn't. These were a huge favorite. These are layer frames. So these are stitched frames. They're made out of the layer material. They are collaged, but they're actually pre-sewn, and we left the little threads on the end. So these frames, these are perfect for quick Christmas cards and whatnot. Also didn't come back, but you know now. So if you like it and you want it, stock up on it, okay? Because you can get it. Like I know Cheiron still loves these. This, as you can see, transferred over to our sticker book where we just did them out of just sticker paper. But these were so cool, but these were really a challenge. We didn't do them. We discontinued them in the whole entire idea-ology line. They're just so hard to make because they're actually done on plastic, and so it's actually a slightly raised letter and printed on the top. So this is like a vintage label maker because it is plastic. They're so cool. I love that old school label maker. But label stickers for Christmas, didn't make it back. Remnant rubs. I know a lot of people are using rubs. This has 2 sheets. Did not come back. There are no remnant rubs for the season, but I saw them. So if you're looking for remnant rubs, there's a lot of great stuff for holiday mail art or little sentiments, because these will work on glass and fabric and all types of things. But again, now we have collage paper if you were going to collage, but nothing beats a rub on. But we didn't bring it back. Collage paper. So this is how we used to do collage paper. It came in a tube with a roll. This has some printed color. This is the graphics. Beautiful poinsettia and holly. But you'll notice like this cathedral window, that design is in the collage papers that we do now in the pack. Not these printed colors, but we have poinsettia and holly that you can do. But if you really like the colors and maybe you work on larger pieces because you're doing, I don't know, furniture or frame or any of that, you can still pick up. This is the one design. We've done many holiday designs through the years. This is the only one I could still find available on Google. That doesn't mean that Google knows everything, but it knows a lot. Then design tape, I know, gosh, we used to do so much washi tape through the years, but all the design tape and idea-ology has been discontinued. And it was discontinued a long time ago, so I was surprised to see this one. This was a favorite. I remember how excited Paula was when we finally had this one because it has our favorite plaid from a tin, a great little check, and look at these skinny little tapes. These tapes fit the edge of vignette boxes perfect. It also fits great little tags just as trim. So this is what's in this tube of tape that I found. You got the wide ones and then these skinny ones with little sentiment, the holly, the plaid, that little Scotch plaid, and that pink and red minty stripe. So there you go. So that is some of the stuff. And then yes, I saw a pack. I couldn't believe I saw this. I'm like, surely there can't be any more fringe. Now, you know I talked about the black fringe for Halloween. This is cream, so this is the same crepe paper. This can be inked. So my advice would be to like cut the section that you want, leave it flat first, okay, because remember this is sewn, so you would cut what you need. Then you could either spray it with color, do a watercolor wash on it, whatever it is you're going to do. You can dry it with a heat tool, and then you're going to go in and wrinkle it up and create that fringe. You just take it and roll it in a ball, and then you have just this great festooning, this wonderful cool stuff to use for the holidays. Mica stain would work great on it. Just, you don't want to soak it. It's cool. So yeah, I was surprised to see the cream fringe, because if you didn't get Halloween, well, then you could just get that and spray it black or orange. Or I see the chat. I couldn't believe the fringe was there. I'm like, how is that still around? Maria's like, I don't know. They missed it. You missed it, because I probably would have bought it all up like I did the black.
You would have.
I would have. Here's a lot of different embellishments. Again, it was almost like just I love it. I love seeing that there's still stuff around, because it brings back great memories when we designed it. These were a favorite. These were flare. So these are like pin backs without the pin. So they are metal and they have that shine finish on the top. These are quote flares. This was one of Paula's favorites. It's got little sentiments on it. These are really quick for ornaments or to glue on a package. Paula's got some great ideas for creating custom packaging ideas using quote flare, because you just glue them on because they don't have a pin back. And then these little mini ones. I absolutely love those. Look at all these tiny little holiday things. These are like old school department store buttons. I actually have the originals of all of these. So these were things that were literally pins that we scanned in, or a little stamp that we scanned in, or some ephemera. So I love that. These are so tiny. I mean, you can see tiny. Cute though. So we have those. Then when we talk about words, so this was last year's word plaques. I found them still online. So last year we did We Wish You a Merry Christmas and Season of Magic, whereas this year we did Tidings of Comfort and Joy, and we did Merry Christmas. There's that seal I was talking about. But instead of, we got rid of joyful and we added sweets and I think wonder, and we added a little star. So we like to change it up, which is great. But then if you are a card maker, this was great. This is when we actually used to just do a pack of like one thing with different sentiments. So Peace on Earth, Season of Magic, Wonderful Life. And I tell you this because sometimes you'll see a sentiment on someone's make and you're like, oh, it must be in this year's. No, because we changed the words. It's all about collecting them each time just so you have those word options. This was a favorite. Take a look at these. These are snowflake adornments, and they have these little tiny, well, kind of rhinestones in there. Oh, you can see them. I don't have to take them out. You see they have little sparkly faux stones in there, like little diamonds. These are charms, so you can tie them onto things. Also retired. Those are the snowflake adornments. These are adornments. We did Deck the Halls, and then we did another one last year, which is just 4 of these wreaths. I didn't have a package of them because you could see I used mine really quick. But all these have been retired. These are flat back. You saw the painted ones in my muffin tin, but I stock up. When I know it's going to be retired, I just go. So now's your chance to get them while you can. Mirrored stars. And I know you can find these at the craft store, but not these tiny, tiny, tiny ones. These have 5 different sizes. I mean, down to little microscopic size stars, and that's really why we did them in Ideology. Typically you find like the 2 larger sizes, but these go all the way down to like, I think just over 1/8 of an inch for a little star. And you can alcohol ink these, do that, but yeah, these have been retired. This one, oh, ask Mario, I was in a panic. I ran out, I'm like, I better have enough icicles. I do, I have 20 packs of these, so I'm okay. But these are retired. One of my favorite SKUs. They're cool. You saw them, they're acrylic, and if you've seen, again, our house tour, they were inspired by these big trims that we got. So those are gone, but I saw them online. And we'll talk about confections, because confections have changed a lot. Just so you get a comparison, this is this year's and last year's coloring, the deep red and the deep green, because it worked well. But these were the original colors, that nice faded peppermint. So confections where you can just get the candy sticks and the mints, and confections candy canes where you can get a whole pack of candy canes. So if you like this vintage color, which you know I like both colors, it just depends on my mood and my vibe. But these also have been retired, and they've been replaced by just that 1 pack of just, so I thought if you saw the color comparison, you would totally understand. And then these, you could tell I've already taken mine and put them in little bags. These are called droplets. Again, a SKU that I couldn't believe I still saw online. These are just flat back pearls, which, you know, in the card making world are pretty common, but these are some great vintage colors. So these are already done like that. They come in the vintage red, green, and like a bluey pearl. And then these, of course, metallic. So we have a metallic silver and an antique gold. These are great for cards just to glue on and use as ornaments and all types of things. So it's really, really good. All right. So those are the little trinkety bits. We're in the home stretch of what didn't come back. It's like a walk down memory lane. Now, trees. This is a SKU that we did that did not come back, which is the large trees. So you already saw the other woodland trees that came back, which was the multi-pack. But we've had a lot of people that do home decor. They want stuff for their mantle or in their wreath. And so we used to offer just the large trees. That's why they're called large trees. This did not come back, but I still saw them out there. So if you are looking to do bottle brush trees and maybe you want to do something for your table or, you know, again, a mantle, you can still get just a pack of large trees. Other than that, you just get 1 large tree in our new woodlands moving forward. And speaking of woodlands, a favorite, I think this lasted like a year. Maybe it lasted 2, but it wasn't long. I love these. These are tree stands. This was a vintage tree stand that I actually have. We took photos of it and we reduced it so tiny. And these tree stands are designed to fit the woodland tree. So you just, there's a little wood disc on these trees that you can just twist it off. And then you fill this with some hot glue and you can glue in your tree, but it's the cutest tree stand for your woodland trees. You can paint this, you can do embossing glaze. Through the years, you've seen makers alter this so many different ways. Alcohol ink, you could do metallic, you can paint it. But I loved it. And these screws, like you don't screw them, it's molded in. But yeah, I loved it. I thought that was so, even if you have vintage trees, I love that. But yeah, these didn't come back. This was, what is the year? 2021. So 3 years ago we had those. Wow, can't believe they're still around. Wood slices, again, that got retired. Love people using wood slices. And then tinsel. And tinsel, what makes this unique when we did this in Ideology is this is a really thin wired tinsel. So it actually has wire. So again, you can do a wreath. If you look at the past holiday hooplas, this is the stuff I made the cutest little trees out of. Mario, would you mind? In the closet, second one back on the right, 3rd row over, look at the bottom, you'll see a bin. Just go in there on the right-hand side. You'll look in there, you'll see Christmas stuff. So like midway, 3rd thing, there's a tub. If you open it, you'll see Christmas stuff. I made the cutest little tinsel trees, and
This one?
yeah, see? You laugh, but I know exactly where it was. You're like,
I laugh because I'm like, oh, I can't even remember where, what shelf, right,
look,
left.
I know exactly what it was and where it was. It's a little beat up, but you'll get the idea of what I did. See, it's a little trash because I threw it in a bin. When I say bin of Christmas stuff, I just like to chuck this in. But really what this is it's taking this stuff, which is wired, you cut off a little bit, and then just with your scissors, you just cut it into a little triangle. And then you alcohol ink it, and you make the tiniest little tinsel trees ever. How cute is that? And this, I just wanted to show all the colors. See, I need to glue it back. There's probably another one loose in there. But yeah, that's what you can do with this stuff. And you have a lot of it. You can still make a wreath or anything, but so cool. And you can even heat this with a heat tool and it kind of melts and shrivels like vintage tinsel. I loved it, but yeah, it didn't stick around long, but I was surprised to see it. It was fun, really.
On the right,
like
to the left, second shelf up.
I knew where it was. There you go. Very cool. So then we have, of course, the festive tin. And I was talking about this vintage tin. Paula has the original vintage that we've used on paper, on tape. We did this tin one year. It was just really cute because you can put the lid in there and you can decorate. You can put trees. Again, just type festive tin, idea-ology festive tin. You'll see some great makes with this. The little houses fit in here. There were so many cute makes, but yeah, we only did this one year. So I couldn't believe, maybe we did this 2 years. I couldn't believe that we still saw it, but it was really designed. Yeah, you can fill it with baked goods and all types of things because it is food safe, but it was really designed to house a make in there. Very cute. So there you go. So if you like any of that stuff,
Bam.
happy shopping, peeps. All right, happy shopping. Okay, let's go. Let's get started with the makes. So a shout out to the makers really for creating so many cool things, and we have a whole variety of makers. Mario will be posting links in the chat, but definitely check out the maker page on timholtz.com to see the makes. The first ones we're going to start, I like to start with cards. Cheiron created these cards. Cheiron is a wonderful card maker, and I love when she joined idea-ology for making because, you know, typically idea-ology is very dimensional, and I love the fact that she took on the challenge and she remained, she kept saying yes about taking idea-ology, but like focus on cards and let's see what you can do with them. And I love that she often creates almost like a little series so you can see, because when you get a pack of stuff, it's like, well, can I use all the different stuff in the pack to create cards? The answer is yes. So these cards she started, the background is using the craft stock sparkle. So can you see that sparkle? You see that little glitter where it looks like it's dusted with rock candy? There's no glitter on this paper. It is printed like that. I don't know how they do a printed sparkle, but they do. So there's no texture to this at all. And it is craft, so you can sand it, you can die cut it, you can tear it, but it makes a great background. Then she took the layers. Of course, see there you can see that shine. That's the coating. That's the layers in paper dolls. Layered those together, and then that is a sticker from the sticker book. Just use some foam tape and create a card. And you can just repeat the idea. So you can see here again that craft stock sparkle. I love the splatter paint that she did. There's a layer, and she's got those cute little girls just sitting up there. And then hearts are filled with wonder. And then we have that. Look at that charming little boy. He's so cute, just sitting there with his little arm up on the fireplace. We love that piece when Paula found it. She's like, we have a fireplace. I'm like, that's so cool. So again, just taking layers and paper dolls and the sticker book and the craft stock sparkle. So if you just kind of think about those three SKUs and just sitting down with those, you can pair them up because you can just start sorting and be like, okay, this is going to be a background layer. Oh, paper dolls, because those come in the same pack. And then you've got stickers, and then your background paper, of course, could be whatever it is that you want to use, whether it's color cardstock or something you ink. But yeah, I love those cards. Really, really clever. I'm just going to put these here, kind of fill it up for now, just because I have several cards that Cheiron made. Then we have this little series of cards, again, where she took elements from the layers pack. Now, these are the little photo booths, because those are little photos also in the layers and paper dolls. So you can see here, taking the backdrops. So that's just the backdrops paper. She put it on the card. She did a little sewing. That's the baseboard, those little quotes. These are tiny little fasteners, little mini fasteners. But I love how she just added the frame and then put some layers behind it. There's those little circles. See, those little melt caps are cute, aren't they? I love that idea-ology backdrop, little sewing, baseboard. So see, compartmental making. You can take that stuff, even if you're looking and you're like, I don't really know what to do with all this stuff. It seems a bit artsy. No, they're really just elements, creative elements, and you can put them into whatever style of make you like to do. So again, the backdrops, I love that little photo booth. And you could sub these out for photos if you have your own photos that you want to incorporate, maybe family members. But yeah, I love the ideas. And I think seeing the ideas and seeing them together, it just reminds you of, yeah, I can take this and I can just make more, and I can make more, and I can make more. Now, if you like to do collage, Cheiron also created these collage cards where taking the packs of ephemera and just going in, and you can mix ephemera and layers, but she just pieced all these little collages to the back. And you could just do a collage strip if you wanted to, but I love how she used some collage medium, glued all of this stuff together. And then she's got that paper doll. Look at him, he's so cool. Little ephemera, there's a little clipping sticker from the sticker book. See, and we shall be very, very happy. I love the sewing around it. And then just put it on just a craft cardstock base. See, I love the little bits. If you like to collage, really, the ephemera, I mean, we talked about how many pieces are in ephemera, and you're like, that's just crazy. You know, the difference between this, like collage strips are very linear. So when you get collage strips, they're all going to be like these horizontal slices of art that's in a vertical strip. The nice thing about ephemera, obviously, you can do a patchwork. See where this piece can be layered on this could be on this. Because the paper is thin enough, it makes layering really easy. And then, of course, adding those little elements to the top. Have a holly jolly Christmas. I love a lot of these banner pieces, these die cut pieces that we have in ephemera. But look at that collage. So if you love to collage, really, just sit down and you don't have to do it card by card. You can either start with a pre-cut panel because maybe you know you're going to make this size card, or heck, just take a sheet of cardstock and just collage the whole thing and then chop it up. Like, don't think about it. Just imagine just sitting there with collage medium and ephemera and make your own background papers. How easy is that? Great card ideas. Really, they're brilliant, especially when you kind of see the repetition of an idea. I love that Cheiron just does that and always just creates such cool inspiration. Then she sent some other cards, which I really love, just seeing like a whole different approach to how she was making cards. It was like, okay, I did that, and I'm gonna get a little artsy. I love this. So Cheiron created this. This is a little shakety shake. Love that. So here she used that layers that I said was a box top, and how I mentioned it'd make a perfect shaker card. This is distressed mica flakes. So we actually sell synthetic mica, and it has that wonderful icy finish. This is through Ranger. So distressed mica flakes, so good that you can put in there as a shakety shake card, because it just has the perfect wintry vibe. And that's actually what old boxes of Christmas snow was. It was mica. And then just the Santa on there. Again, you can use a little sticker, you can use ephemera, you can use whatever. And then this is some snowfall grit paste. We talked a lot about that. I love working with this paste. We talked about this, was it last week was Ranger? Yeah, they're all running together. And we talked about like how icy it is. And this is what you see. You can just smear it on. It dries exactly how you apply it. And to me, it gives you the most realistic icy snow texture ever, because it has that translucent little bit and sparkle. So great card. Then I love how she used a little baseboard window, and there's the transparency of that snowy background. She used the Santa, another baseboard piece. There's that little post office sign. But again, a card, and the cards could be big. I mean, sometimes people have a lot to say in a card, or a Christmas letter. So you don't always have to stick to A2 or Slimline or whatever. Do what you want. Just start your background and then cut a card base to match, and be done. As long as you find an envelope, you're good. Or Natifa can hook you up with how to make an envelope. So I also love this collage one. So this is using collage paper. So Cheiron created this, just gluing that collage paper. And see what I mean about going in and doing your coloring. Doing distressed watercolor pencils just to add your tinting. You can do your ink to the background. And I love how she has that festive marquee on there, a little distressed paint. So you don't have to leave it silver. You're going to see a lot of altering. We're just getting warmed up, guys. I mean, the inspiration is just like, buckle up, Buttercup, because it is going to be something. There's so much inspiration. This is like one little bucket, and Mario walked in, he's like, your table is packed. I'm like, there is inspiration for days. I love that. So thanks, Cheiron. Absolutely love the cards. So good.
What's up, baby?
All right, so next up, we're going to talk about dimensional makes, and I really kind of group them together from cards to dimensional to boxes to domes, and really hope to spark your creative process. So Richele created this. I'm going to turn it on. This is it's a little Curio clock. See, it's got tiny lights in there. I love how it lights up. But I want to talk real quick about this clock. And I love that Richele has made a Curio clock for both Halloween, when we did the Idea-ology Live for Halloween, and Christmas. Why? Because I love the clock. The clock has been in Idea-ology. We started with an assemblage clock with the bells on the top that you had to disassemble in glass. And I mean, you had to be committed to these Curio clocks. Sadly though, not every idea sticks around. So the Curio clocks, all of them have been retired. So if you think you want to ever do a clock, get a clock now and maybe make it another time. I will talk about the Christmas clock. So we did a Christmas clock well, when these came out, I don't know, did they come out last year or the year before? I can look at the box. See, I know the trick now. These came out in 2022. So these only were on the market for 2 years and they've already retired. See, not every idea sticks around. It just is what it is. But we did this really nice, I love that shiny red. The great thing about these clocks is the back just pops up. You can just push your finger in and just pop out the back. Let me just, there's that little tissue in there. So just like a friction fit. Then this ring also pops out. That little metal ring, everything is designed to pop out. So this is your base. You want to be careful. It's a raw metal edge. It's not a blade, but you just want to be careful with it. You could also unscrew this if you wanted to take these apart. We wanted to make it really easy to assemble or not. This already has little foam tape in there for a reason, because it's designed to pop out and pop back in. If you want to glue it in, you could, but really that tape just allows you to pop the ring, and you're like, why? Well, because maybe you want to paint this a color. Maybe you want to paint the clock a color. Maybe you want to leave it this color. Maybe you want to collage it. That's what's great about these clocks, is that they were very customizable. But I think just the fact that they were like empty, that even though Paula did great inspiration for the box, I just think people got in there like, what do I ever do with it? Well, they're just cool. And the red only came out when we first launched it. And I saw some online. So I love it. You don't even have to paint it. But Richele painted hers gold. So you can do spray paint. You can do metallic paint. You can do foundry wax. See, there's that little ring. See how she did that black? That's why we wanted you to be able to take it apart. But look at just inside. She's got those little woodland trees. I love that glitter. It's just a little bit of metallic glitter. Could be glitter dust. I'm not sure which glitter. I love it though. Sparkly little platinum-y glitter. There's Santa all painted in distress. You can see in the back, she's got the layers, the 25 and the wreath. There's some of that plaid. So in the back, that's all plaid. Can you see that back sparkle? That's all the plaid craft stock as well. So I love that it just creates that subtle sparkly background. And then you can see the word plaque, good tidings of comfort and joy, and how she just went over and just did a little bit of gold, right? So cool. And I think really like the potential of this is what I loved about it. It had no glass, so it was way easier to work on. And then she just hid the tiny lights on the bottom. And the tiny lights, I think she just put through one of the screw holes, because you can just take this off and feed the wire through, because the wire is really skinny. Just love it. Super fun. So that is the Curio clock that she did. Just gonna pop that back in. Great job, Richele. I love that. And I love the little detail on the top. See the little pine cone, the little holiday bells that she colored, a little bit of ephemera. Details. It's always the details. It is. It's so good. Joan, I get very excited because it makes me super happy to see how makers take the ordinary and transform it into the extraordinary, because that is what idea-ology is about. And people go, well, I'm just not into that. Okay, you do you, but you don't have to yuck someone's yum by saying you're not into that, because that's okay. You do you. But I love the fact that people can see the potential of stuff, and that's what we try to provide in idea-ology, is a foundation for you to embellish. So Zoe Hillman created this as an idea-ology clipboard. You don't have to use a mini clipboard. You can take an old clipboard or something you find at the thrift store and just kind of repurpose it. This is just smaller. It's designed where you can take a screwdriver, remove the hardware, and then it allows you to kind of cover everything and paint it. And I love how Zoe took the brick backdrop and did this great little brick wall. And then she just made a little scene. Just took the baseboards, there's a little transparency, and she layered both of those transparencies in there. There's the baseboard wreath, there's the 2 lamp posts. There's the festive marquee that she added just a little bit of grunging to, and I love it. She's got the little holiday greetings. Then she used the address, Gate Street in London, some holiday bells. So this is just taking packs of stuff and just gluing it onto a structure. Now, my favorite thing about the mini clipboards, and really I'm so happy that they've remained in the line, because they are, well, it's one of my favorite structures to work on. Why? Because you can just hang it on the wall. It already has, like, you just hang it from that and you can hang the clipboard, or you can lean it on an easel, or it's a kind of an unpredictable structure, but that's really what I love about kind of creating that. So really fun. And you could theme this however you want, but you've seen them throughout really every Making Live, but that's what it starts out as. And paper, baseboards, layers, ephemera, transparencies, metal, just tell your story, tell your creative holiday story. And this could either be for yourself or you can gift it to someone. Charming, isn't it? So much fun. I love that. Love how makers just do. So Suzy created this. This is an Etcetera tag. So these are from Stampers Anonymous. This is kind of a paper board in a tag, but the idea is that you can take any structure. This could be a panel, a wood panel that you buy, or a frame from the dollar store. Your structure can just start out basic. It's taking all of these elements and transforming it into your story. And I love how each of the makers have just a whole different idea with each of their makes. This one has a beautiful winter woodland vibe. So you don't always have to do ho 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 Christmas. It could be winter, it could be nature. But I love how she took the backdrop. There's that palette of just the little green swatches. Then the back, this is another backdrop, just that chippy paint. And then she used, there's the baseboard window. It's kind of grunged up with a little paste. There's some mirrored stars. Look at those. See, alcohol ink, they're beautiful. The little woodland trees. These are the salvage deer. I also love how she incorporated some moss in these twigs, these outdoor sticks. There's a little pine cone. And could you use regular pine cones? Of course, but not everyone has little pine cones. I've learned that. Not everyone has little ones. And I love that these are like those perfect little sugar cones. The little Merry Christmas, the word plaque. This is again more Etcetera. A little bit of sparkle there too. I think if I look at the back, can you see that little sparkle down there? I think Suzy went and used the sparkle paste and just spread it on. If you look at the demo last year, I know Paula did this, where you just take that sparkle paste, the distressed sparkle paste, pick it up with your finger and just spread it on really thin. And see, it just adds just little flecks of the tiniest glitter. Wow, I love that. And then some bells at the top. I love that, Suzy. Really cute. So again, this could hang on a wall, go on an easel. Even something like this could shove right in the center of a wreath. So maybe you're looking for something to decorate the center of the wreath, whether it's a fresh wreath or a faux wreath. A make like that is perfect. I love it. Love it, I love it. Love the inspiring makes. All right. Next, we're going to talk about, this is a make that Marina did, and there are so many ideas through the years of this. This is one of those that if you are a card maker or you like to do junk journals and you just want to try something a little different, but maybe you're not ready to go full-on curio clock, okay? This is a great make, a great concept idea. So this is using a vignette card file. Vignette boxes, we're going to talk about a lot of different vignette boxes, but this card file already comes with that little metal hardware. You can take that off, just unscrew it. It also comes with these little divides that are in there. And the idea is that you can still use it as a display box, but you can also use it to hold all these different cards. And in idea-ology, we also sell a lot of different types of file cards. There's file cards 1 and 2, which are all different pre-cut cards. This is the newest one with envelopes and coin pockets and accordion, and they fit into this. It doesn't mean you have to use it. Cut your own paper. If you have a paper trimmer, just chop it up. But this is what Marina used to create this. And really, there are so many ideas through the years. I know Paula has done several because I ask her all the time, like, you want to make another one? Want to make another one? And I love how Marina just kind of, again, told a story. So there's some little bells painted. She put a little ephemera, Christmas wishes, and there's all types of just pieces. So this is what I'm saying, that you can take your skills of junk journaling or card making and just create little works of art. And sometimes when people make things, people ask all the time, like, what do you do with tags? Well, this is a great idea. Get a vignette card file, make your tags, and just put your tags in here, because this is something that can sit on the table, that if you have company over, they can flip through it and see all your little works of art. You can put in photos. But I love how Marina just has like a little story where we've got just the wonderful, charming baseboard. You can do paper dolls. These are, oh my gosh, little hitch fasteners on there, little ephemera. See, there's some craft stock sparkle. See that sparkle? But then just each piece just has a whole nother element where you're taking, they could be papers, they could be little cards. Here's one of the layers for the back, and just create your own storyline. And the benefit of something like this as well is you have the option to have things stick up or stick out, right? Because you're not trying to put it in an envelope and put it in the mail. So it's another nice thing. And this could be a gift. You could gift this to someone and they can switch it around. Almost even, you could do an advent or a countdown calendar to that as well. I love that. I love that paper too. With the layers, there you go. Backdrop, some stickers, and I love how the things can just wrap around. You're going to see a lot of this. The sellotape. So we launched the sellotape this year. It sold out really quick. It just came back this month. It's just back in stock. So if you've been looking for the sellotape and you haven't been able to find it, gosh, it sold out when we launched idea-ology, and it just came back in stock. I love this. Look at this background with all the clipping stickers. just taking those stickers and kind of making a little poem. There's a little Santa. There's that plaid. See? So good. Make little pockets. Oh, I love that. Look at that little hole punch. I like that too. That's cute. That's a cute little detail. See, Merry and Bright, A Perfect Christmas. But all the little details, that's from the sticker book. Like I said, like washi tape. This is a photo from a collage strip. So, gosh, so many different elements. So that's one little compartment. We're going to go through them all because, you know what? Because we can. And there's a great photo of this too. For the makers, they'll be posting their makes throughout the season. There's also going to be a follow-up post on timholtz.com that not only show the makes, but there's a great layout picture of all these cards. I love this. Look at how charming that is of just doing the baseboard window and the transparency on one of the layers. See that little snowy one? That's a snow box in the background. And then we've got just a little piece of ephemera and a paper doll. But see, that's great. So when you think, oh, I don't want to use baseboards, yeah, it's chipboard, but you could still use it on a card. It could definitely be used on a card. Look at that little photo booth. There's the tape. Gosh, see, cello tape for the win. I think the thing about cello tape that people didn't, when I say people, I mean even retailers, didn't anticipate like how much people would use it.
Like everyone thought you were crazy with that too.
They did. Or you just get one pack, and then when you start using it, you're like, I can't stop using it. And before you know it, you blew through the pack. You're like, oh, I better get 2 or 3 next time. And I think that's why it sold out, I think really within a couple of weeks. So because it adds something to it, even if you're just doing collage, just that grungy tape, especially around the holidays.
Because
that's what it was.
Years in the making.
But it's so perfect. It was so worth the wait. I love this. I love this little, see, you can, let's see, can I slide this off? I'm about to. Look at that little band. Little ephemera on that ribbon. It's a charming little ribbon. Then you can open that. Oh, see, a card, a little layer inside. See, that's from that layer Christmas Emporium. Told you can just use the piece as a piece because it's rigid enough, because it is a thicker coated stock. And that's just that pre-made envelope that you can cover with paper. It's already built, it's already glued, you just get to cover it up. That's cute. I do love that little band. That's charming. Uh-oh. Let's see. Can I do it? Oh. I'm telling you, it's just my pork chop fingers. And plus it's not, if this was mine, I would have just shoved that thing on there. But, oh, there we go. I did it. I don't want to ruin somebody else's work. Oh, this is cool. Look at that. Little baseboard peppermints. I love that portrait on the side because it's a full portrait. I love that she cut that. I love the poinsettia on his hat. That's really great. Happiest season of all. And then just dimensionalize it. So you can add layers just by dimensionalizing. So these are the baseboard, those candy canes, and that added as kind of that raised layer for that portrait. So cool. I love this, Marina. Look at this little door. Come on. Just that door with the transparency. There's that poinsettia charm. See? You're going to want it. This is when you're happy things are in your stash. Oh my gosh, this candy cane, this is old school ideology. I don't even know how many years ago, but that's an ideology charm, that little candy cane. Oh my gosh. This is when really you're so happy you have that stash, that little box of stuff, because you get to go through and like, oh, I have that perfect little thing that is the right scale. So a little confectionery on that door. We've got this little card and tag, again, collage strips and the cello tape. See both sides, just really good. I love that little candle because that's another one of the cutout cards. Ooh, what's going on here? I don't know. I think this is a puller outer, but I'm not sure. We're about to find out. Either it was a really great decoration that I just took apart.
We're going to get that tie back right.
Oh yeah, look at that. See? That's so cute. See, that was worth it because even the inside's covered. You take that out. It's just see, it's a surprise reveal. Always believe that you should just, if it's tied, untie. If it's clipped, unclipped, and then, yep. I won't tie a bow, but I'll tie it like this. That's really cute. Another little pocket, little charm. See, one of those little tags. Make a little pocket out of that. It's really cute. And we've got Santa with the baseboard. See, just great ideas. So this is what I was saying, that if you just like to sit and just make little things, don't give yourself so much pressure that you have to turn it into a card or turn it into a scrapbook page or turn it into a junk journal. Maybe these elements could go into any of those things. But if you just sit down and just make little things and you don't have to worry about finishing anything, and if you know you're going to use it, well, you don't even have to do the backs of them. But That's really what I love about the whole concept of the vignette card file. This is really cute. I do love it. All right, great job, Marina. Very cute. All right, give me that, Mario. Okay. Now we're going to go into a lot of books, and typically I like to break it up, but I thought it was just best this time that I put things together, because I think that, you know, when you see ideas one after the other and you have some comparison, I do think that it helps you understand the potential of a product. So these are folio folders. So these are file folders. These are new to Idea-ology. They are made out of distressed heavy stock. So the same heavy stock tags that I do with Ranger, it's the same paper we do with Idea-ology. So these folders all fit all the books that I'm going to show you, but you can also just make a book out of the folders. So Paula created this book, and I absolutely love it. It's just wonderful because she took a piece of canvas. You could start with really like whatever it is that you want to work with. You can start as a foundation, but she used the file folders as the inclusions of the book. So first thing, we'll talk about the fabric on the outside. So this is a little holidays past. This is the fabric that she used on the outside, and she also used it right here on the binding. This is just some canvas that you can pick up at the fabric store or the craft store. But if you look at the cover, can you see the cover? Can you see that fabric? This is the collage paper. This is the Idea-ology collage paper that I showed you, that when you put it on, the white paper disappears. That's just the way that it is. So it looks like it's stamped, but it isn't, because if you tried to stamp on fabric, there is no way you're going to get it this detailed. That's the benefit of collage paper. And there are tips and tricks, and I know Paula has shared this many times on her blog, and she'll probably share it again, but it is about having the right amount of collage medium, both as a base layer and as a top coat, because it's the collage medium that will go into that paper and make those white areas translucent. It still keeps it completely flexible and pliable, but now you have that design on fabric. Amazing, isn't it? And it does the same thing on wood, canvas, really anything. I just love it. So inside, look, more holidays past. See, inspired by the clippings from that sticker book. I love that she did fabric. I love this P. All right, so let's take a look. So here she used these file folders. These are all the file folders here as pages. She stitched those in as signatures. So I think that's really clever. If you have something that, you know, you want to make as a cover, or maybe you're going to repurpose an old book. Maybe you have an old book cover. These are great things for pages. So you can see there's our backdrops. No surprise, she used those little houses. Love the tiny houses. And then of course the layers. And then inside, there we go. We've got the paper dolls, and I love how Paula does her tinting. She does coloring so well for the paper dolls. Hey, is this page for us? Celebrating just a little too much. You know it. Good times. I love that little tree. There's some sparkle paste. Can you see? Oh, just there you go. Can you see how she took a little star stencil and did a little sparkle paste on the tree? There's some sellotape. I love that. And I also love all the sewing details. What a great little book. Just this little torn paper with, again, more sellotape, and that's a great way that you can bind another page. There's another folder with the layers, the poinsettia. But you can see all these papers from, you know, the old plaids and how the plaid is torn, and you can see all of those papers in backdrops. A lot of times people are like, why did you do that? I think backdrops allowed us to be a little bit more carefree with design, because typically when, you know, in the scrapbook paper world, when you design like a paper pad, it needed to have a theme. And backdrops really allowed so much flexibility of just everything could just be random bits. And I think when you put it together, that's what's cool. I love the music. There's the mint stripe, again, more collage paper. So this is all collage paper. So see, when you put it on, it becomes translucent in there. Love this little pocket. This is a little layer here. And then she's got cute little tags, just some pieces to come out. Isn't that great? Official Christmas tree. I just love the elements that you can do. And whether this is a stamped one, there's a Stampers Anonymous little stamp, some sellotape. So really fun little book. I love that file folder. We've got this one, that little minty stripe. That's one of the layers. And look at how she tinted that. Isn't that crazy? Paula, telling you, the tinting. Ooh, there's that sellotape, more collage paper. So whenever you see this big black image on, whether that's on a cover or whether it's on the file folder, that's collage paper. And it just looks like it's been stamped because that's how that product is designed to use. So that's why, like, when you get it, that's where it's just magic. And the frosty air, love that. There you go, another back of the file. Oh, look at him. He's so cool. Oh my gosh. We can start the Christmas party. I didn't know there was so many party things. I love that. I love the Christmas party. Look at this tag. Let's see, let's take this out. Does it come out? Yeah. Oh, look at that. So that's the number set from Curiosity Shop, the stamp set we did this year. I love the 25 on there. Season of Good Cheer, and I love how she just made a pocket by taking the frame and then just putting it right over the file folder and then leaving the top open just to slide that in. Little Be Joyful from the sticker book. Backdrops, again, more layers. This one's held on by a little idea-ology hinge clip. Look at how charming that is. So see, again, collage paper that she colored, little sellotape. This is just adorable. See, I think that this is just, the kind of thing is just super fun. And these are details that are important to us. We'll talk about that. So you see this little wrinkle in this calendar? The page itself isn't wrinkled. That's just from the original piece. And instead of cleaning it up like most people would want it perfect, we're like, oh, if we could add wrinkles to things, we probably would, just because we love all the vintageness of it. There's another one, again, that little photo booth. So cute, the coloring. Collage paper all in the background. That's that one that has all the little imagery on it. There's a little backdrop, and I love how that collage paper is layered over that. So again, any place that there's white on collage paper becomes translucent. So you'll see right through the leaves and pick up whatever color you're putting it on top of. It's a great little tag, little wonder. I love that. I love that. Just that little tag right there. Good Tidings. Look at that. Oh, just her dress. I love how she added that little piece of holly. So that's not part of the photo. See how she just cut that, added that? It's so good. Oh my gosh. Tinting. Yeah, it's like tinting 101, 102. I just want to watch her. Like, I just want to watch you color. Then another little tag and little bell. See? An eyelet. Just adding an eyelet. Eyelets are like, they are timeless. They really are. May your hearts be joyous of peace and goodwill toward men. That's absolutely beautiful. And see, just where you get the little surprise reveal. That's the other fun thing about, you know, having a frame and having like a pull out, because you just get to put something behind it as well. And just that little sewing detail. I mean, come on. Look at that. How do you sew that close to the edge? No way. That's so good. The only way I would be able to achieve that is to have a really big piece, sew it, and then cut it close to make you think I did that. That's how I would do it. There's a workaround. I would. I'd sew it, and I would cut super close to be like, look how close I was able to sew. I don't know. Maybe that was a trick. Maybe she did that too. I love the Santa. Look at that little sparkly holly. So a little bit of whether you're using rock candy, whether you're using sparkle paste, any of that. Oh, look. Oh, look at that. Look how she added a little rock candy on that candle on the mantle. It just caught my eye. That was its purpose. That's super clever. Because see, distressed rock candy is just, it's clear. So it's just, you don't really notice it until the light hits it, and then it's like it's been dusted with sugar. That's the whole rock candy. That's really clever. Really cute, P. I love that. Let's dream of long ago, when from far up the chimney, good old Santa Claus came, filling the stockings in an overly merry manner on Christmas night. This is the magic of clippings. That sticker book, if you get into clippings, you will lose yourself. You really will. If you just start creating these little poems out of the clippings, it is magic. So I encourage you, if nothing else, get that sticker book and just start building quotes and then use them for something else. Like this way you don't have to, stop in the making process. Do that and be like, okay, I'm going to fill quotes, and just get out that book and really like lose yourself in it, because it's so good. Because all of these different pages, they're all different. They all came from books. Paula clipped all of these from so many different books, and that's what allows you, and we kept them that they're all wonky sizes, they're different paper colors, like we kept it exactly how they were cut. Simple as that. Not simple for the factory to replicate, but simple as that. And I think that's really, really cool. And then the back, Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. There's that plaid. Isn't that great? I mean, what a cool book where you think, what would I do with file folders, right? You look at that, you're like, what would I do with it? That's what you do with it. You just sit down and start playing, and just do it one page at a time. First, you're going to maybe do your backdrops. Then you're going to pick out layers. Then like compartmental think when you're creating, you're going to do some collage papers, and then just each little thing takes on its own idea and its own mind. I think it's a great little book. So charming. Love it. Yeah, I know. Isn't that, it's so cool to see. I love seeing the collage paper on fabric. All right. This next one, Suzy created this, and this is done using a booklet folio. So a booklet folio, same paper as all of the folios, that mixed media heavy stock. So this has a gusseted kind of cover, if you will, with some eyelets, some string, and these are some signatures. And she transformed this book in a lot of ways, and she left me a little note so I understood it, which thank you, Suzy, because I would have never figured it out. So the book already comes with these eyelets in there. It's already gusseted like that. You can kind of see the graphic on there. It doesn't mean you have to use the string or the ribbon. It's just already pre-cut, and it's a good structure that you can add ink and papers and things. So here, let's just look at the cover. Collage strips, those large Christmas collage strips. So the background's already done. Just start kind of patchworking those collage strips. And I also love the sellotape. Sellotape for the win, you guys. It's going to cover a seam. So when you have little patchwork seams, just use that tape to your advantage. It's so cool. I love the splattering. And again, there's a big stick with a wire and just some little jingly bits. There's a little candy. Because these confections, they're actually made out of a soft clay, all of these candies, you can easily drill through them or poke a hole. So the confections are not hard. Like the candy canes, it's a flexible clay material. Little idea-ology loop pin and the tag. All right, let's open. Oh, look at that little stick. Let's go. Ooh, I did it right. Did it right the first try. Okay, so when you open it, the cover, as you see, has all of these elements, and the cover is separate, so it allows you to go in and do all of your collage work. So here again, collage strips. She took this first flap down and she sealed it. She did a little stitching right there, creating a pocket. So instead of it flipping open like this one does, she decided to make this one into a pocket. Let's take these out. Oh my gosh, I love the twiggity bits. You see that? Little twig nuggets. Look at that. Who doesn't like a twig nugget? Okay, so we've got some layers. I love that. Sellotape, little paper doll. Look at him with that. That's me. It's like, this is the kind of candy that I need. A little flash card. I love the tape. So just taking these layers and making them as cards, just for the inclusion. I love that within your heart. Isn't that charming? Okay, then we open this. So there's that other flap that she just left open. Little collage. I love the pin. Little tiny attacher. Look at those layers. So cute. What's up?
Everyone is saying twig nuggets.
Oh.
I mean, like,
Now I'm looking at the tag. Oh, yeah, I see it now. Oh, well, there is. Look, there's another little twig nugget. I mean, they're everywhere. What do you call it? It's like, oh, it's really cute. Okay, so this is when she messaged and told me. So typically this book comes with signatures, which are these folded pages that are sewn. So you can actually tie them in and make a book. But she closed up the signatures to make this like pocket, if you will. So if you think about it, this would be a page, this would be a page, this would be a page, but she sealed them up and then she cut this one to make a pocket. And there's a twig nugget. Just knew I could just grab it. There it is. He's cute, right? Look at that. I love that. It's just tied up there. Cute layers. Oh, look at this. This has a little pull out too. So this is a little layers. She did some sewing around the edge, believe in the magic. And then, see, twig nugget. Now everyone's going to be like looking around for the tiniest little twigs, because look how great that is. It's got a little mummy cloth. That's what gave it that little fabric vibe. Magic is right. Look at that. Because we actually have big flashcards in idea-ology as well with all the great words. I love how she put on that photo booth. So good. See, that's what's fun about the little details of just kind of constructing your own book. And you can see the pages here. This is all collage strips, but just because it's collage does not mean you cannot build on top of it. This is ephemera. These are layers, and you can tell the difference. See the shine? This has shine, so this is a little glossy. This does not. This is thin like paper. This has a little step up because it is thicker than ephemera. And that's why it is important to have all of those different elements, because people go, well, gosh, why do you have baseboards and backdrops and ephemera? Well, why not? I think, oh, there was a twig nugget. There was. I'll just call it that now that you guys have embraced it. I was a little embarrassed at first, but I'm okay. Oh, see, look at that. Isn't that just a great, love the transparency where she just used that little transparency. Those chilly little boys, that's from a collage strip in there. Those little layers. I just love how she did the frame, and then just the collaging on the back. Stickers, layers, backdrops, ephemera, all of the above. And even that, see, I didn't do that. So I love that she even gave me like a little torn edge to grab and take that out. See that little bit of distressing? And then we've got this pocket. I really love how she just kind of cut that curve in there just to add that. Oh, see, he's got one too. He's just holding that. It's like a walking stick. I love using the flashcards. That's really good. Really, really charming, Suzy. So fun. But when you think about layers, and so far you've seen in the projects, the benefit of having this type of material, it's just foundational pieces. It can be used as is, or you can collage things on top of it. And what do we got here? Oh, another little pull-out. See, look at this. Got a little twig, layers, and then a little baseboard tag. I love how that's all tied together. Isn't that just clever? The ideas. It's what I said at the beginning, that the whole point of this live is that you can just jot down ideas. You're like, oh, I'm just going to take layers, or hey, remember to use sellotape, or splatter it, or fold and create a pocket, or add some string and just create a clever little pull. Just, I love all the ideas that the makers share. So then back here, we've got a whole nother pocket. And then this, oh, this is cute. Oh, come on. All right. Do you see this? This is a little matchbook. A little matchbook that's done using a collage strip. Do you see that? Stop it right now. Because that is a full, large collage strip. But she just scored it. She looks like she put two of them back to back. So she's got stuff on the inside. Folded that up at the bottom and did a tiny attacher to attach all these little papery bits. Look at these little festive elements in there. So you've got a little flip through. How clever is that? Two back-to-back large collage strips, and then you've got that piece just to tuck in like a match. That is very clever. I mean, just this as a Christmas card idea is really, whether you had the little flyaways or not, that's just really clever just to do that. And then when they get it, they open it up and you have your little message inside. That's brilliant. I love that. But look at all these little pieces. Just layered, stapled, tiny attacher for the win. Because the tiny attacher just allows you to like, just staple things on. See, like that little flashcard. And I just love all these little pieces. Little candy cane, the ticket, little photo back there. And they all just fan through because it's all held together with those. Brilliant, brilliant idea. So you have nothing else. Like, you went through the whole make and it's like, cool, cool, cool. And then it's like this. Come on. Look at that. Brilliant. I love the ideas. I do. Just that little clip thing. So, yeah, very clever. So when you, again, look at a booklet folio, you're like, what do I do with all these pieces? Well, it could be a book, it could be a signature, or you can just transform it into pockets, into whatever you make. And these books really were designed to kind of grow and be big. That's why it's just made out of that paper, so it could be incredibly flexible. So great job, Suzy. All right. Our next book, I love seeing all the books back to back, actually. Marina created this one. So this one's using an accordion folio. So accordion folio, this is a little different. And this is before we did all the fancy graphics with the little step outs like we do now. That's going to be revised for future runs of this. But this is a book that I love that Marina created this and really kept it in its accordion style. So it comes with the twill tape. You can ink this or stamp this or replace it with something altogether. So this has a great little baseboard window. Oh, look, little people inside. She used paper dolls peering out. Oh, look, she's outside. They're outside. She's in, I don't know. She's outside, they're inside. Love the layers. Little Merry Christmas. I love the little charms. And see, the nice thing about any of those metals is really you can just add paint. You could add crayon. You can sand that. I just think that's really cute. It's a little piece of lace. Oh, look at the spine. Good tidings of comfort and joy. And just, again, more of those bells. So taking your paints, you could even do alcohol inks on this if you want. But I love how these are all custom colored just to really go with her make. All right. So we open this up. Oh, cool. Look at him. He's standing there. There's that baseboard window, but cut in half. So that was that big white window, that arch window that I showed you. There's a little lamppost, a little pocket here, little tag. See, just fine. Just using your elements, backdrops. This is a great way to also use up scraps where you can just kind of create these little elements. All right. Open this. Oh, there's the other half. Oh, does this? Oh, look at that. So when I open this, because that has an extra flap on there, I love how she split the window. See, so she took the baseboard window, cut it, and now she was able to just kind of fold that in and open that up to the window. That is very clever, Marina. I love that. Then you open it, again, little paper doll, backdrops in here. Just, there's so many great elements. I love that we added, like, I can always spot new things that we added, and I'm so happy we did. So good. This is when Paula and I just sit there and smile like, yep, good choices, good choices. And then Chris's work it's flawless how he could just make everything work so well together. Anyway, we've got that cool little flap. So the accordion one is designed with this open cover. These pieces you can seal up. This has this little drop down flap, and sometimes you've seen makes where this is actually glued or sealed closed. But then this is the accordion part. It actually has this little ziggity zaggity book that is cut. So it's actually cut at an angle, and it's already pre-scored and folded. So that's the accordion of it, not to be confused with another book that I'll show you. And so this could be attached to the back, or it could be loose like she has it in there. But I love where she's got all the little faces layered. Look at that wreath around his neck. So fun just to create that. I love it. She's got them holding a little flashcard, a little ornament of cheer, doing some layers, some ephemera, the photos. Also love the tinting here. And it's also great that it's double-sided, because by positioning, see how she's got like some heads in the back, but see, she covered them. She covered them with some of the backdrop paper, so they just kind of blend in with the background instead of just having the back. That's detail right there, because that means you got to cut around that. Great detail. But when we flip this over, see, same thing. That's clever. Just took some of that background paper and just kind of finished those heads so it kind of blends in. It's like a Disney trick, right? Just blends into the background. But here we've got, I love him poking out of the frame. Look at that little family portrait. Beautiful. Little layers there. More photos. And I love the 25. See, there's that little address. But how great that she's got them facing different directions, so this way when the book closes, they're all peeking out. That's really clever. That's so fun. And because you already have this kind of foundation, you don't have to build the structure. It's already there. You just cut the paper and kind of fill it in, and then customize it from there. Wow, I love that little window idea. What a cute book. That is the accordion folio. Great job, Marina. Just the ideas, really, from one book to the next are, it's incredible, huh? So amazing. All right. So this next one, this is a pocket folio. And now pocket folio has an accordion in it, but the accordion folio name was already used. So that is why we created the pocket folio. And Luise created this one. Can't wait to see it. It's chunky. I can't wait. But this one, this actually has chipboard covers, as well as this continuous piece, so there's no seams in it, one continuous accordion with these pockets that fold up, much like the accordion folio with that single pocket, but we just repeated the whole concept. So again, that is why we called it a pocket folio. I just love this, look, because it just stands up. All right, so here's that twill tape, inked, because it takes color really well. You can do ink, you can do paint, you can do a wash. Oh, cool, that just comes off. So I love how Luise just created a whole little Christmas scene. It's like a vignette on the cover of a book. We've got that festive marquee with that little repeat sticker. That's in that sticker book. There's the woodlands. And remember with the woodlands, if you're going to glue it onto something, just take your scissors and you can trim the back of the tree. It could be totally flat. Just trim it. But we've got the baseboard windows, the snow. There's the little deer from the figure stand, painted. There's some pine cones, some little confections. Oh, there's the bouquet. Bouquet that discontinued, and you guys went crazy for it. I did see that a lot of retailers got more stock of it, because even though I told you that bouquet was discontinued, as I told you, there was still stock around. So I love how she colored those flowers. All right, first I'm going to open this up in its entirety, just because I really want to see it, and then we'll go through the details. All right, but this thing, like, take a look at it. This is one continuous accordion. This is how the book comes, and it's got a flap that you tuck into this cover and a flap that you tuck into this cover, but it creates a really long continuous book. It also has pocket flaps that you're going to see used. So I love how she kind of inverted the book, where, you know, the pocket typically comes up from the bottom, but if you just put the book in the other way, then they can flip up from the top. So really clever, Luise. Oh, we got a lot to cover. There's fronts and back. So let's go through. Let's go through the book. So you can just see the backdrops and all the little layers with the stitching details. I think that when seeing all the papers, oh, and I love how she just took those pieces from the sticker book and she's like, great, I'll just stick those down. You've got all of these little elements that are pinned on, and here's that tab. So the tab that would typically fold, if you just take the book and flip it, now you've got that lift up and it just creates a good reveal. But man, there's pockets everywhere, just tucked with goodness. My gosh. See, people that do junk journaling, this is where you just lose yourself into, you know, all these little tags and pockets and sewing and inclusions, and everything just has a little surprise reveal. There's a little envelope. This is probably from the Sizzix Chapter 3 Postal die, where you can die cut that out of backdrops. And she's got paper dolls and some little ephemera tags, little Santa Claus letter. Let's turn this. Look at that. Beautiful little sewing around there with some collage paper. There's the paper dolls, the little tags.
I don't have an answer for that.
Hey.
Is there something else I can help with?
I'm not talking to him. I don't know what I say, but he likes to interrupt. I love the detail on that. Look at the sewing. That's really good, especially in that circular motion. And then we've got, I love the portrait with the transparencies. There's the layers, the sticker, and the frosty air of night. Small but bright. So cute. Confection. So same thing on confections. You can see that there. If you have a blade or a thin knife, because these are clay, you can slice them and you can make them flatter to go onto a project. So that will work. I love this. I love this little tree that she put on fabric, and she just used that little layer just as an embellishment. Little tag. Dream of Christmas, just upside down. I think that's so cool. Collage strips right here. Then you can see another one of these tags, but really the amount of layers, like I can't even comprehend. There's just little bits of things everywhere, from the smallest little detail of that ruler from ephemera to the little plaid.
I don't know why he's talking.
I don't either. All these little tags again from ephemera. We've got the layers there. This piece, that little bit, that's little eyelet. I mean, gosh, I love the little ribbon cut too. So I saw in the comments like using up scraps, also really great for that, because every little bit is just, there is so much Christmas in here. I also love how she flipped the transparency. So the transparency, it is printed white and then it's got black on it. So if you do flip it over, then you get kind of that white leaded glass versus the black. So that's cool to see in here. And just oh, look at that. I'm glad I took this out. Look how she just used that Sizzix die and just die cut right through the layers. That's very cool, Luise. I love it. Put some little foil back there. Use all the toys. Get all the stuff out. Get your stamps, get your dies, get your stencils, get all of your things and just make with it. Look at that. I love the tinting, Silent Night, Grace and Light. And just the layers, little tiny clips, the sewing. I mean, gosh, there's so much detail. Little tag there. Little ziggity zag. I also love all the elements to it. Little splatter and sellotape. I mean, you see sellotape just everywhere. I can't call it out every time because you see it everywhere. And that's what I love. It's such a great detail. Isn't that palette paper cool? We were happy that we found like a red and a green palette to include at Christmas, because it's different. It's unique. So now we're kind of on the back side. We just flipped over the book and now we're going this way and just seeing all the elements, all these little pieces. Oh, see, there you go. I bet there's probably others in pockets I didn't even take out because I just thought it was a layer. What a nice surprise. That's the whole thing. It's like surprise journals. Little glitter, little shakety shake in there. The transparency. Tiny attacher for all those pieces. I love that little confection. See, it's these ribbon cuts that are very cool. I'm just kind of showing you the detail. Isn't that cool? There's so many different layers to the composition of these books, and I think that's the fascination with, see, that came out. I'm just going to say it went here. Yeah, you guys didn't see that. There you go. It's a fascination of a junk journaler just to kind of use all these little pieces. Oh, it's in my hand. We'll include it there. Winter Wishes. I do love that. And the transparencies. I mean, she's cut so many transparencies just to make them into little pockets. And even the paper dolls. If you don't need the bodies. I mean, if you know Luise's work, she's going to use the body somewhere else. She's very much about switching heads and bodies and all that. But that's just really great just to have. It's just like a portrait. It's just a mini one. So that's very clever to kind of have that in there. Then we have again more of that stitching, layers, giant bird in the back, 34th Street, little splattering. Love how she's in the center of that wreath. Just so many cool elements and nuances, and all of the stitching and details, just, gosh, so good. Isn't that fun? I mean, come on, just look at just the amount of work on all of these books. But that's the whole reason that providing kind of a little tag came out too. Providing a base structure, a foundation, really, I think, provides the ability for makers to customize it from go. You don't have to think of the construction. You just get to do all of the embellishment fun. So what a beautiful make, Luise. And I love really so many of these makers, especially makers that make books. They share a lot of detail on their social media as far as how they do it. Often many of them do page by page by page of things. So so many great books. All right. So we're going to go from books to glass. There's several glass makes. I always like to talk about the structures ahead of time. These are the glass SKUs and ideology that a lot of the makers use. This is a reliquary dome. This is an arch flat glass dome with a cork base. This is a display dome, a round arched circular dome with a cork base. And then we also have the small domes. So this is again cork base. These are all glass, 2 sizes, and then mini domes. So you can see like these are the same style of dome, just kind of the regulation, the small and the mini, and then the reliquary is kind of flat. I love the glass, especially for Christmas, because, well, 'tis the season. It's like snow globes, right? All right, here we go. Just going to move some of this down. Okay, this first one Zoe did. Take a look at this display dome. So charming. And the thing about these domes, really, you're going to see, it's a great make. It's something that you can incorporate all different types of elements in. It could be something that is a keepsake, or it could be something you made or something you found. But I love just taking, you can ink the cork, you can paint the cork. So here Zoe just put a piece of ephemera, did a little inking, did a little thread around there, and then did the woodland trees with some sparkly glitter. Oh, there's one. See, that's one of the urns. That's from Conservatory. Remember that urn that I talked about? She used it upside down as like a little pedestal for the most adorable little Santa mug, and she's got some pine cones sitting in there. What a cute little dome. So great gift if you're making decor, or maybe you're hosting a party and you want to do little gifts. I think that's great. That's a cute little dome. That's one. I'll put it here. Let's see. Will it roll? Yeah, he'll roll face down. I'll set him like that. Here's another dome that Zoe did. A whole different vibe. So the benefit of like a glass dome is really, especially if you're going to work inside, you're limited, which is also good, especially for the creative thinker, because you can only put so much in there. And I love the idea of just kind of telling the story. And these pieces it does, it'll just slide off. So here she used, there's a little ticket. That's from the ephemera, little repeat tickets. I love that around the base. And here she used a figure stand. Look at that deer that she colored gold. See, the figure stands are just, people say, what do you do with them? That's what you do with them. It's an embellishment that just, it sits there. It's on its own display. Little pine cone. And then you can see the woodlands there with some baubles. See how those are decorated with some glitter? I love the baubles. Just, they make the perfect size ornaments because the baubles have a lot of different sizes in a package. So really cute, but 2 completely different themes, but just, you've got a great structure to work in. So these are really cute, Zoe. Really nice. Then this dome, Cheiron created. So here she just took our little Savage figure. This is the large one. So this is the large snowman that fits in this one. She also took some baubles and just, you don't have to make snowballs just out of the clear bubbles. You can also make them out of the pearl ones, where she just added a little bit of a little rock candy. There's some mica in there. I love how she painted a little snowman. Look at his little rainbow scarf. How cute is that? Look at that. Sparkly with rock candy. Cheiron, I love that. See, Cheiron went beyond the card. She's like, I can paint a snowman and put it in there. Just don't limit yourself just because you think that that's how you normally make. Just enjoy. She was inspired to make it, and she did. And that's what it's all about. And I love how she just added a little band to the end. The glass is finished, but you can tie a ribbon or string or just do ephemera. I just think that's really cute. That's great, Cheiron. Love that. Then this is a reliquary dome. So a reliquary dome, you can see it's just about double the size. It's a little bit taller, but it's a complete arch. I love this design because it's also flat on the front. And I think that just gives it, instead of kind of that rounded, you know, almost distorted. It's fine if you're using something small, but if you're doing something big, the Reliquary domes are my favorite because it just gives you more of a scene and you have that flat front. So this is one that Tami B did. I love the winter trees. You can see in the back she used the transparency. So see the transparencies that came with baseboards, and she just cut it to fit inside. So it just gave it that little wintry background. And I love how she just used the deer. Now, I mean, the nice thing about working with any of these elements is that you can paint them, alter them, glitter them. The woodland trees, this is why we do them in ideology, because they could be any color, any style. I love that she also included some little pine cones. Can you see them in there? They're just kind of tucked in there, the smaller pine cones of the resin ones. And I also love how she just incorporated that little bit of ephemera, a little paper strip, and that's the figure stand. So the figure stand, it's not attached to the stand, so she just used it as a really nice big snowflake embellishment. Charming. So great. So it does, it just allows for bigger elements to tell the story. So I do love that about a Reliquary dome. Zoe did this one. I love this. This is the whole Christmas Carol. I love the idea of just kind of like Ebenezer Scrooge. She did a little book. I don't know if I'm gonna see if the light will pick it up. It's right there beyond my pinky. You'll see it in the photo, but it says Humbug, and that's from a clipping. So she did a little book where it's got Humbug. There's the drippy candles I talked about, the little ink bottle, and take a look at that. Oh my gosh. That's like the tiniest little wax seal of all time on that little ink bottle. Look at that. She's got one of the ideology quill adornments. There's a little drippy candle and a candle stand. There's the pine cones. There's the star from last year. So again, use what you have. If you haven't used up the stuff last year, use it. Enjoy it. That's the whole idea. Then in the back it says Spirit of Christmas, and then Christmas present. Oh, so like Ghost of Christmas past, present. Oh, I get it. See, isn't that cool? So telling a whole story, that's incredible. That's the beauty of really when you're working with the glass. Let's see if I can lay these out. They're probably just going to roll everywhere, but I'll hold the end one and I'll be good. There we go. Look at that. Oh, wow, look at that. Not bad. But this is what I was saying about the glass elements. If you've not worked in that, they're just really fun because, well, besides that they're glass and it's beautiful, I love that the cork base allows you something to build on. You can stick stuff on. You can build all sorts of elements. It's pretty amazing. All right.
I'll take those.
Thank you.
Just take one by one.
All right. There you go.
Set up for your next. Yep. Easy.
There you go.
Easy.
All right. So here's another glass make. This one Vicki did, and she created on a base. So this could be a block. This could be vignette boxes, but she added these domes, and I was surprised because it's so colorful for Vicki's style. But she's got the great tiny lights. She's got tiny lights in there. I'm gonna tip this just so you can see. So each of these have the colored mica. Can you see the mica flakes in there? So remember, the mica flakes in rock candy can be tinted with alcohol ink. So each one of these domes, this one has blue mica, this has red mica, and this has green mica. And you can see that she took the layers, Christmas Emporium, and just cut up all the different tops and collaged all the way around. So every little box top, every little layer, just chopped up. But then she kind of went with these colors, and that became the make. It's so cool because that's a little figure stand deer. Those are the salvage figure deer, and they come in two sizes. So she used the same deer in the big and small. Then she did the woodland trees, see, to match the colors. She's got the little tags in there, the bells, even the pine cones she colored, everything to match the make. And right here is what ideology is all about. It's about you doing you and giving you the ability to customize what you want. Customize the trees, paint the elements, tint the mica, add the tiny lights. See, look, there's a little red pine cone, a little green bell. And these, because they're bottle brush and they're wired, you can just kind of shape them the right way. But yeah, it just glows so pretty. I'll shut off the lights just so you can see. It's still great in the day, but I love that each one, she took one strand of tiny lights and just kind of popped it under. If you just, because it's a cork base, you just carve out a little bit, you can just thread some lights in there, thread some lights in there, thread some lights in, use one strand of lights just to kind of light this up. And then at night, you can just imagine all those colors just glow up, not only on the deer, but within the glass. Isn't that great? What a cool make. Just fun. And then like that is the display. That's where it sits. So again, another idea that when you're creating, even if you weren't, whatever your theme is, This is why you want domes in different sizes. This is the regular one, this is the small, and this is the mini. Because you can put them all together and actually tell a story within the glass. This is great. I love the fact that we have these glass SKUs in Idea-ology just because they're unique. They're unique in their size and shape, and I love how cool they are. Thanks, Mario.
Sure.
All right, let's keep going. We're going to keep going. We covered books, we covered glass, we covered cards. Now we're going to get into vignettes, and vignettes are one of the things that I absolutely love. I'm actually just off camera moving stuff down because the vignette boxes, there's so many of them that I just want to slide them down the table. Can you keep sliding that? Thanks, Mario. All right, and then I'm going to just bring in just this basket, just real quick, just to talk about vignettes so you can see what all of these are made with. Because sometimes when you see the finished, it's hard to even recognize how it started. So these are vignettes. This is all part of Idea-ology. These are made out of wood that are charred. And these are the SKUs that are currently in Idea-ology for vignettes. This is a vignette panel. So this is a display panel. It's open on one side, so you can work on the inside or the outside. It's a great foundation because they're inexpensive. They're also very lightweight, so you can hang them on the wall or stand them up. Then there are vignette trays. So there's two sizes of the trays in each pack. There's a large tray and a small. They can be used horizontal or vertical. You'll see that there's a lot of cool things that you can do with trays. Then there's the divided drawer. The divided drawer I referred to as a cheese box in the last time, but it's kind of that size, that elongated skinny box. It's got these shelves that are removable. You can pull these out, so you can create either a big compartment, 3 little compartments, or 1 elongated piece. And again, they could work either way, this way, this way, this way. You can work on a vignette however you want. We used to have a divided box, which was kind of like this and bigger, but it has been retired. I do all I can to save the vignette SKUs because if people don't use them, well, they can't stick around. And I think it's such a great opportunity to have structures in a line because you have the ability to buy something and build on it. And then we have the standards, the vignette boxes. So these are the rectangular boxes. There are 4 boxes. Now they range in different scales. So as they shrink down, they also decrease the depth. So this is the deepest one. And then the next one is slightly, it's about a 1/4 inch more shallow, and you go on, and then you have just 4 different boxes, even down to a little tiny one. And then we have the vignette squares. These contain 3 boxes, and same idea that they kind of graduate in size, but also in depth. So the smaller one isn't as deep as the bigger one, but they can all be mixed and matched, which you're going to see in the makes. I love that we have these vignette SKUs. All right, just going to pile those up, Mario. There you go. All right. So this first one, Tami B created, because I want you to see like really what you can do with vignettes. Vignettes are like the Lego or the Tinker Toy, if you remember, of a maker, because you can really build on whatever you want. So this, you can see the structure. This was a divided drawer. So this is that one that had those compartments. And then she took another vignette box and glued it to the top. So she kind of closed off one of those compartments, built a little foundation, and added a box. Now with that, there are tiny lights. So let's light this up. Oh, look at that. Look at that charming little tree. Oh, look at the Santa mug. So she even put, look at that. She's got some whipped cream on there. You can use texture paste. So you could take distressed texture paste and you can put it in there with a palette knife and it will dry like whipped cream. You can also put it in like a little icing bag. You can use a lot of different things, but you want something that's going to harden. But I love how she even took the little confections. Here, let's shut off the light so you don't get that blue glow. There you go. She took the little confections, even cut those up for like little minty sprinkles and the little candy cane. See, that's a nice thing about these candy canes. Being out of clay, they won't break off in your make. They just stay flexible. But I love that. Look at that cute little Santa. She's got more little mints. These are wood boxes. A lot of makers you buy wood blocks from the craft store and you just cover them with paper and make all the presents. You'll see several in that. I love how Tami just did the paper. She took that made that little bounce, but I love the color lights. That's so traditional Christmas. Then what's also really cool is she took these are little knobs. These are Curio knobs that we've had in Idea-ology for a long time, but you can find any kind of decorative drawer pulls, and I think that really adds to it. So I'm going to just try to lay this down. I'm sure these are going to fall out, but that's all right because I want you to just get there you go. That's like the view of what this make looks like. She's got the festive marquee here, and then it's filled with pillow boxes. If you watch the Halloween live, I knew they were going to fall out. you know that she did a Halloween one with all the treat boxes. This is using the Sizzix pillow box die. Look at that craft stock sparkle. This is what I'm saying. Like, this paper is so cool because it is craft. It is a craft paper. It's thick enough that you can just create it. I love how she did the little windows. Oh, look, she used the acetate from that. And then she's filled it with little treats. I had to look to see what's inside. Halloween was like some little sticky, slappy skeleton. These are little candies. Let's try this. Redbird. Good. Well, I have to wait for the all clear from Tami because sometimes she says like, I have display candy. So I'll wait for,
Looks like a little mint, huh?
yeah, I'll wait for her to say like all clear and then I'll I'll eat one. Because sometimes she's like, I've got display candy that I reuse, so don't eat it. Yeah.
You know that.
I do know that. I love that. I use display candy all the time. But what a great idea. So again, you can take this, and I think this is also something that's really fun because you can use it year after year, where you can just take this and bring it out and you can fill it up. Again, little favors for a holiday party or an office party or something, but I think that's just really cute, really clever. I love that, Tami. See, Santa mug for the win. He's going to add a touch of magic whenever you see him. Yeah, I agree, Cheryl. That plaid sparkle, it is. It's pretty magical paper when you see it. It adds, it's a little sparkle. It's not like glitter. I can't really say that that's what it is. It just isn't.
All clear,
Yeah.
so no display candy.
No, I can wait. I wouldn't eat it right now anyway. All right. So the thing to know about vignette boxes, like when I talked about vignette boxes, that boxes can be used a lot of different ways. That you can use it and you can build in it. But obviously, if you work with the set of vignette boxes, then they have the different sizes. The smaller ones are a little bit more challenging because, well, they become really tiny. And I love working with boxes in a different way. So I created these because I always have a collection of the smallest box and the next size up, because again, they're nested. And I think this is a great way that you can make these wonderful little stand-up elements. These could be gifts. This could be something that sits on a table. They can also hang on the wall because I've used the outside of it. So it's really just these two little sizes. You can make these in any size you want, but I often find that I'm left over with those. And what I used on these was one of my favorite things that came out this year, and I talked about its return, which is typography. Typography contains all of these different resin letters. Now they are resin, so they do, I'm gonna be honest, they have like a weird smell. So when you open it, just like the smell will go away, but the first time I opened it, I'm like, dang. It's just because it's a poured resin. You can paint them, you can ink them, you can glitter them, but they are designed in a vintage manner. So like even if you look at like the scale of it, or sometimes like the E is a little wonky, it's just because that's how we wanted them made. I found old letterboard letters. They were like these ceramic ones that had pin backs, and we molded them as is and shrunk it down. So, but once it airs out, really, you're good to go. I used them as is. I didn't paint them, I didn't ink them because I love the contrast of them. I just went in, used the plaids from backdrops, glued them on with collage medium, glued these on with collage medium. I love just working with distressed collage medium because it shrinks, it doesn't leave any shine. And I glued those on. I didn't use a laser level or anything. You just kind of wing it. See what I mean about the E? Like some of them, they're just cool. To me, it adds way more of that handmade look. Like the L is a little smaller, the T is a little wonky. It also has some stars in there. So these are part of typography as well. And then Be of Good Cheer. And then after these were done, I just splattered it with some white distress paint, let that dry. And then I just adorned it with the things that were in the muffin tin. I took either the big Santa, or I did the little snowman on there, like whatever fit on the ledge I used, or I just used the woodland trees. You can paint the bases if you're like me. I love a red base bottle brush tree, so I painted that. And then there's a little mirrored star. So to me, it's an easy make, but this is something that you can make a lot of. You can, and it doesn't have to be a vignette. It could be any kind of small box. It could be picture frames that you want to alter. It could be blocks of wood if you want to do that. But I mean, I can't get over how cool these plaids are, because like all that distressing, that's the paper. That's not me doing any fancy painting. The whole background, all of that, other than the little white speckly flecklies that I splattered on, this is the plaid. And I think there's maybe 5 different plaids in the backdrops this year, because this art is so cool. They're not like a traditional illustrated plaid. They're almost like a painted plaid. There's a lot of texture to them. But yeah, they're just fun. Isn't that cool?
This one's my favorite.
Mario does. He loves that. He loves Merry and Bright. So again, I just thought it was a really easy way that you can use up vignettes and just give you an idea of what to do with typography. It's a lot of fun. All right. Next up, you can also, this is a really cute make that Zoe created. This is one of the vignette card files. So this is the same kind of file drawer that Marina used at the beginning. But as I mentioned, it can be used as a really charming vignette box. You just stand it up so you can still utilize that little hardware. Here you can just take out one of the little divides, just kind of pop it out. It is glued in, but you can bust it out. But I love how Zoe created this little tiny confectionery shop. She used the backdrops from the old cigar box. So it just really gave it like an old discarded kind of cigar box vibe. And then she's got just that little bit of plaid in there. There's confectionery. I'll hold it in the light so you can see. I love, oh, there's those little seals again. Look how cute those are. So she used the cork vials. There's some peppermint drops. That's from the ephemera pack. Some little chopped up peppermint candies. Little rock candy on the outside of that to give it a sparkle. A little Santa mug with the candy canes. Little grungy. That's that skinny little design tape. That's what's great for that tape. See how wonderful it covers a vignette edge? So good. Then there's another little bottle. I love, oh look, she made another little book, but then on the edge of the spine of the book, she used that little sweets tag and then some. So we also have little tiny vials, cork vials, but isn't that charming? A cute little make, something that could just sit up on a shelf, or again, you know, you maybe have jars of display candy, or it just makes a great gift. I think that's really cute. I encourage people, if you've never made a vignette, make it this year. Just try one. You'll see how addicting it is. They're so fun because you just get to like add little elements and add little nuances to things. And you just, yeah, it's just like making your own little scene. I just love it. I love this. Really cute, Zoe. Super fun. All right. This next one, this one lights up as well. So Luise created this one. So this is taking that same divided drawer that Tami did. Remember, hers was like this, but Luise did it just really tall. I love this. There's a little for Tim. Little box. Cute. There's the paper. Look at that little plaid sparkle. But I also love how Luise just went in and kind of grunged it up. She used the baubles. There's a tree. Oh, this is the baseboard window. Remember that arch window that we're seeing? She just cut that off. Did she use any more of it? No, just use the top of it. That's cool, like an architectural element. There is tiny lights, so let's light this up. See what we get. Oh, she lit up the middle. Cute. All right. I mean, there's so many different things. Like, look at this little, it's like I don't know, like a bottle brush cleaner. She put it on like the handle of the silverware. So there's a little bottle brush, and this side has a little bell where she used that baseboard. But I'm just going to tip it so the light can kind of light up inside. It's really cool because this kind of looks like, I don't know, this looks like an attic because there's little spider webs back there from Halloween. And then it's like, you know, the Christmas tree stored in the attic with the bells and the ornaments are all kind of patinaed. I don't know. I don't know if that's where she's going, but like, to me, I just love it. It's like, that's the little attic. And then this kind of looks like the little kitchen because it's all lit up and it's got little peppermint curtains. But take a look at this. She made hot chocolate. So she's got little marshmallows in there. She kind of did the brown. And I love how the hot chocolate, you know, the hot chocolate always pours on the outside of the mug, no matter what. So I love how she's got some of that chocolate. Oh, look at that. Look, there's a little spoon with the marshmallows. You see it? That's one of the little idea-ology silverware. Because we did the silverware, the fork, the knife, and the spoon. I love how she did the little marshmallows. I think she must have made the little marshmallows. They're adorable. They're very cute. There's a little brick from the backdrops. There's a little figure stand. See, there's a snowflake on there. A little mint, some books. Oh my gosh, a little napkin. Can you see that little cloth napkin? Oh, and the doily. Doily. That's adorable. And then the bottom looks like, I don't know, maybe it's the basement because it's like there's more brick, but now you kind of see moss. You see, oh look, she made a little broom. This got to be like a little push broom. There's a little bucket. And then she's got some little mushrooms kind of growing out, like maybe it's a damp basement. I don't know. Maybe I'm just in my head, but I can be. That's the other cool thing about idea-ology. You could be the storyteller as the maker, but then you can also tell your own story as the dreamer and the recipient of like what they envision. Oh, look, there's the lamppost. And see how she just did like a little bit of gold on there just to make it look like it's lit up. That's really charming, Luise. I love that. And there's a little dome with some baubles. Very cute. See, look at that. I'll kind of tip that so you can see it. It's in entirety. again, like if you have an idea and you want to build little stories, that's really where that divided drawer comes in, is it allows you to, use it like Tami did, kind of set it up, or use it like Luise did and just stack it up. It's cool. That little broom. That's so clever. Hilarious. I love the little bucket. So many great details, huh? There, now you can see that hot chocolate dripping down the side of him. Yummy. Makes me want hot chocolate with marshmallows. So good. Great make. Great vignette. Love all these details. All right. Here's another vignette. This one Marina created. I love this. I love seeing, because Marina and Luise, they both do a lot of books. So I love that they did vignettes for Christmas in addition to their books because, well, they're fun. They're addicting. You can still use all of your elements. So here, Marina, so this is a tray. So if you look at this back piece, this is going to be the smaller tray. And then this is one of the boxes. So you can see like there's the tray and there's the box. So this is what I was also talking about when it comes to vignettes, that you can just build them, just attach them together. We made a lot of them the same scale so they can be stacked and worked with. But this kind of reminds me of like a hutch or a little Hoosier. And I love how she's got this little gingham ribbon. There's one of the little knobs. So she created her own shelf. So on your shelves, you can make your own. You can use chipboard. You can use Etcetera trims. There's a lot of things that you can create. I love she's got that festive marquee. And look at how she's got all of the figure stands in the top. That's how you use the figure stands. Look at that. There's the wreath on display, the little reindeer, the snowflake, and then she's got paper dolls. The guys are standing in front of the fire. Oh, look, he's holding a little bell. You see that? And there's a little fireplace. Then she created that ledge by adding the other box. There's our Santa mug just filled with all types of treats. And then in the bottom, you've got that charming little box. There's the box top. So there's several different options for each box in there for the new layers. You don't have to use it on a box. You can use it obviously on cards or as a frame, but I love that it goes over the vignettes. There's that other marquee. There's some more candy. There's baubles on the little tree, the little snowman in there. Just what a charming make. And I love how it sits. I know you can't see it when it's sitting up like this, but if you're looking straight on, I love how it's got that extra little ledge. And it just, I mean, with all the fun festivities going on, I just think it really highlights that Santa mug. So cute, right? Just so many ideas. Like each one of these ideas are just like, you could just take that and that's a make, or that becomes a little ornament, or just that little ledge is also, I want a skinny little box just to put all my figure stands in. It's cute. Really clever. Great job, Marina. So many ideas. All right. This next one, this is like department store wow. And how do I know that? Because there's 3 sets of tiny lights in here. So this is the vignette tray. So this is going to be the larger tray. Richele created this one. And she also added a base. So that's another thing. If you're going to use the tray because they're skinny, and especially you're going to use something tall, it is a good idea to take another piece of wood and just make a little bit wider base, especially you see something that sticks out in the front, because often when you embellish it, it becomes a little top heavy and it can fall over. So that's just a good little tip. So Richele took this tray. Let's look at the outside first. I love how she used the collage strips just for the background. So see, collage strip saves you from all the piecing where you can just cut them and do them. But then she's got, 3 strands of lights. We're going to light this thing up. Let's see what we got. Oh, wow. Oh, that's why. Because see, she's got white tiny lights. Those are the clear. Then she used the multi, and then she did clear again. I mean, you can still try to, maneuver all the things, but you might run out of lights. And I love that, because then you could just light up whatever section you want. Maybe you just want that section at night. I love that. So here, let's take a look. First of all, I love the fact, if you look at this tray, I love how she took these layer frames and she kind of, even though they don't fit the frame, they fit vignette boxes, she just kind of made them work almost like department store windows. That's what I see of this, where like by adding that frame, and I'm sure she built a little shelf in there out of chipboard or whatever, it's almost like 3 little department store windows. So let's take a look inside. Here we've got, look at that beautiful woodland tree. I love how it lights up. Look at the ornaments in there, the plaid in the back, and there the deer. Look at that little tiny wreath. Little wreath around his neck with the, oh my gosh, I can never tie a bow that small at all. Never. That's incredible. That's beautiful. And then we have this. Look at these. These are like little Sizzix dies. Just take your little greenery and the bells and the little bows. I love the color lights in there. Oh, can you see the ice flake? See that snowflake in the back? That's from the vault. That's from Winter Wishes. Look at that cool. I love that. Because I was like, oh, see, look how the light just hits that snowflake. I'm trying to figure it out. It's like reflecting off of something. I don't know. That's some fancy, it's like the lighting is here and it's bouncing back on like a sparkly background, almost like deco sheet. And then she's got the figure stands and there's even mica in there. I don't want to shake it too much, but can you see the little mica rolling around? So there's like snow in there. But take a look, we've got the deer, the snowflake, the wreath. I love the figure stands, adding a little height in the middle. And then the bottom, she's got a star. That's an old Sizzix die. I love that star. She's got Santa, some gift boxes, the little trees, and that festive marquee. The cool thing about tiny lights, if you haven't really played with them, one, they're great to wrap around things, but tuck them in. It's a thin wire, you can do it. But also just how Richele is using it, where you kind of use it inside something to shine some light, to kind of light it up. But it's beautiful. That's what a great job. See, so much work. So this is kind of like, if you think about it, it's like how a junk journaler would approach like pages of a book. This is like, there you go. It's about taking a vignette and saying, okay, I'm going to tell this story, I'm going to tell this. And you could either have them separate or put them all together. So, wow, what a fabulous make. I love the little address. See, it is Main Street. It's like a department store. Department store windows. Really great. Thanks, Mario.
Sure.
All right, let's keep going. Take a look at this. When I saw this, when Mario handed it to me, I'm like, what in the... And then I had to check. So this thing is massive. So Tami B created this, and I'm like, what in the world? And then I saw it, and I'm like, super clever. So I'm going to start on the back. So Tami B took 2 vignette trays and glued them together to make one big panel, okay? It's got tiny lights, but if you look at the size of this, okay, it's bigger, because I'm going to show you the next make, but I'm not going to go into detail. But this next make is Stacy's. This is the vignette panel. So you can see like that's the panel and that's what Tami created. I thought that was very clever, that if you want to create something bigger and you have vignettes, I just think the idea of putting those trays together, it makes a great statement piece, perfect for home decor. Then she took all of those Christmas Emporium, all those snow boxes. This looks like my cabinet of all the snow boxes, right, Mario?
Yeah.
I love that. Put that down. Then she took another vignette, put that on the front. Then she added those tiny lights. So I'm going to reach behind and turn on the light, see what we're lighting up here. Oh, cool. We're lighting this up. Oh, seriously? All right. Look at this. Okay, so this is the box top, right? That front piece. And you see how like the die cut window is these little slopey. Look at that. She just took those little slopes and just mimicked that. That is cool. I don't know if she used maybe styrofoam or what, but she recreated that snowy windows for those trees. That is fabulous. Then she's got our snowman. So see, you don't always have to paint them. If you're not into painting, don't think like, oh, it's a paint by number, I don't want to get it. We did them white for a reason, because they look really great with just some rock candy glitter, and they just sparkle like just winter magic. I love all the snowballs she did out of baubles. And then these are the mica. Can you see it's got a little bit of mica, some paste around there. It just creates a beautiful little snowy edge. You can see how the mica flakes are just much bigger. And she also did around this box. I love that. Oh, look, there's a little woodland garland. How great. See, this is what I was saying. Now we have, I love this. Now we have garland that matches the trees. This is what it was all about. It's about adding this little element where you have these trees and sometimes you just want that little bit of greenery. And back in the day, we had something called pine twine it was kind of the idea, but it didn't really match this. And I love the fact that you can now ink it and add glitter and mica, and it's just, see? It's just that perfect little touch, because you can color it the same as you colored the trees, glitter and mica the same way you did, add the bells, and I love the fact because it's wired, you can bend it. That's just, what a charming, charming make. A beautiful big panel. So I do love that. And even if it's not vignettes, you find a big piece of wood or anything from the craft store, or maybe even, the thrift shop, just recreate something like this. You can build on it. And I think having these larger pieces, which we've never done layers this big before. I mean, there's a pack of just big stuff, but I wanted them big. I wanted them to be a statement piece, like if you were, seeing those backgrounds. Just love that. It's just beautiful. Oh, I just noticed that. I just saw it in the chat too. Someone said, I love the snowy letters. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I see that. There's the typography. So I love how she did the typography. She added a little bit of glitter on there and just did snow in repeat because you get multiple letters. But see, with that little bit of rock candy on there, that they sparkle. That's very cute. Christmas snow, 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 snow. Wow. See? So many details on that big piece.
So,
It's
so beautiful.
I love it. It is beautiful. It's just it's so cool.
It really does
So
look like
big.
a Christmas cabinet.
So sparkly. It is. That's a great job. Great job, Tami B. I love that. There's the panel. All right. Now we'll bring in the vignette panel that Stacy did. So this is the, you can see my camera. You can tell my camera is framed in for that biggest piece. But Stacy created this. So this is the vignette display panel. And I love how she just took little bits, looks like backdrops. There again, there's a sellotape. So these look like the little pieces from Etcetera. You know, the little Etcetera, because it's like a little house. I think these are like the Etcetera pieces because I see that. Yep, they are. So I love how she added those little pieces. The backdrop, if you could see this backdrop though, this backdrop is like, I don't even know how to describe it. See, it's like bubbly, but it's bubbly on purpose because it's paper that has like warm and natural right there. See, there's like a felt layer and there's even some lace and then that's stitched on top, but it's almost like a paper quilt, if you will. So it has a little squish to it, which is cool. See that? I love that. So she did all that little stitching. There's a little buttons. See again, there's some little netting that comes out of the side. Warm and natural there. Some sellotape. I love just that little inky schmutz there. There's some ribbon. It's just so shabby, vintage good. Oh, I love how she took the little string and just tied those on, but glued it on like an embellishment. See, just that little, it's that textural thing. So it is, it's like a paper quilt. Taking little scraps of lace and buttons to make this background. And then there's an embroidery hoop that, oh, this is fabric. This is holidays past fabric that matches the paper. Because remember, I told you that, you know, the fabric collections have all been inspired by the paper that we did. So I love that she used the fabric. So this is all fabric on a metal embroidery hoop. I love how she used the paper dolls, the layers. Oh, she's holding a little star. Look at that. That's so charming, Stacy. There's some ribbon right there. And then she stitched all the buttons. But how cool. I love how she's got the fabric. Because I was expecting, you know, just that paper. That's so cool. So she almost did a little quilt. So it's like a fabric quilt kind of morphing into a paper quilt layered back into fabric. Oh, that's really, really cool. Beautiful. What a cool make, right? See, so many ideas and so many different aesthetics, styles. That's the other thing about ideology. Yes, I live in a world of grunge and I love that, but I also love from the design aspect to have that kitsch kind of, you know, 1950s vibe, but having all of these products in the same release that you can adapt them to a style, that to me is what magic is all about. That we can go from, you know, something bright and shiny like Tami's make to something vintage and shabby like Stacy's. It's just cool. Because aesthetic is important. You know, everybody has a different way of wanting to approach the holiday season. So take a look at this vignette. So this is, again, the divided drawer that Tami and Luise used. Paula created this one. And I just love how wintry it is. See, like the colors are just so different. There's tiny lights in this. I'm going to light it up. But you can see how she used that ice flake from Vault. And she just put that like right around everything. Look at that little splattery. And then she did this box. And this box has like really beautiful light pastel colors. So even down to this deer, I'm going to see if I can get, there we go. That's going to be better lighting. And there's that little woodlands, because you can cut this down, even though it is thick, like it's the same material. Just get your scissors and trim it. I love how Paula made that little wreath to put around the deer, that little bit of ribbon. See the mica flakes in there? This is where mica and glitter are your friend for the season. I mean, I'm going to turn this off because the camera picks up a warm glow, but really they're white lights. But for some reason, the camera, I think maybe just a ring light, it makes them look really yellow. But you can see like the colors are they're so pretty. Look at those. The pinks and yellows and teals. And then can you see in the back, that transparency? It's like, it kind of looks like rock candy. I think Paula put rock candy on there just to make like a sparkly, where she just used the transparency kind of like as a window in the back. Isn't that pretty? And then she's got the tree. These are idea-ology barrels. So remember, these are part of the everyday line, the resin barrels. So if you don't like the tree stand and you want to put your tree in something, I love how she just went in with some white and just kind of made it kind of a winter barrel. But yeah, these are everyday. There's a couple little boxes, some little baubles. See, look at how she just took the different papers. You can use collage strips, whatever you want on there. That's a little bit of ephemera. Isn't that pretty? And then there's that lantern. I love how she painted on the little flame. See that? That's so cool. Little figure stand, little snowflake. And then, yeah, it lights up. It creates, look at that beautiful glow. So see there again, you know, Paula put the tiny lights at the bottom and it almost looks kind of like, well, like the lantern, like the fire from the lantern, the flame. I just think that's really pretty. So, you know, when you use tiny lights, my advice too, before you like drill anything or commit, is kind of place them and see where the light is going to go. You know, do you want it to be backlit? Do you want it to light from the top? Do you want it to light from the edge? But yeah, what a beautiful make, huh? I love the colors. It's so shabby, vintage, good. It's just beautiful. Love that, Paula. Love the pretty colors because it's about creating your style, creating what you want. One thing for me is I am a fan of the wonky, and I am one of those makers that you just want to be unapologetically you. And if you like something, do it. And if you like it so much, do it again. And you don't ever need to apologize that you did it again. I did this cabinet of curiosities years ago. I did a Halloween version, and you bet I did a holiday version where I like to take a vignette, I like to bust a shelf, and I don't care. I don't need to bust it a different way. I'm going to do it the way I like to do it. So I made this vignette. This is just taking, this is the backdrops. Like, isn't that crazy? This is the paper. I did nothing to this other than glue. Mario came in, he's like, how did you do that paint? I'm like, it's the paper. We've done a lot of chippy through the years. And if you buy all the packs through the years, there's all types of different chippy paint backgrounds for a reason. I got this idea from Paula one year where she took the baseboard and she cut it and then she kind of like opened it as windows. So this is that same arch. I just cut it and I kind of flip-flopped it. So it made it look like arch doors that are kind of coming out of this cabinet. I put the transparency in the background. I added some of the snowfall paste to the edges. I added a little bit more glitter. I did add some more rock candy while the paste was wet because I wanted it to be even more sparkly. And then I just made this wonderful little candy cabinet. So there's my Santa mug. You know he's sparkly. I put a little tree in there. I didn't want to light it up. I kind of struggled with the same thing Paula did, which like when you light it up, it created more of a warm glow, and I wanted this to be full on icy. So the background, you can see I used the plaid, but I even, you know, did some glitter dusting and added some sparkle into the background, but everything is kind of glittery. These are the icicles, you guys. This is what I was saying, that I needed 20 packs because you can cut them with the scissors. So I just took the icicles, and there's actually 2 pieces here, but you can't see the seam. They're flawless. And so I just glued those to the edges because that's really the edge trim. There's some candies there in a jar, some little mints. I did some baubles like candy. I did the little snowflake. And then this one, I was inspired by, I think it was Kathy Cowles many years ago. So this is a foil wrapped Santa. So actually he is wrapped in foil. I don't know if you guys can see that. Maybe you'll see in the photo I post later. But I just took candy foil that you see me do it at Easter time where it's that thin candy foil. I put collage medium on it. I wrapped him in candy foil and just kept squeezing in my hand so all the foil molded to him. There you go. You can see that he's foil. Then I painted a little bit, wore it off, so it really looks like a foil wrapped chocolate Santa. He's more of like a sugary snowman. Yeah, just had a lot of fun. I made that even kind of candy where it's like out of Lifesavers. Look, I live in the world of candy. I took a small dome, but I didn't use the cork. I just used the base and added some snowballs so they kind of roll around in there. Yeah, just had a good time. But, you know, I love creating. And then I, of course, used a little garland. So I did my garland, added some snowfall grit paste, little pine cones, a little bell, because I loved having that. I just love having garland that you can manipulate and actually create to the scale of your make. So yeah, that's my little cabinet of candy curiosities. It's everything in there that I would just want to take out and eat. It's very, very rock candy and very delicious. So yeah, a lot of fun. Again, just taking, and this is the largest vignette box. That's just a wood piece that I just broke in. I love that it's angled. It's wonky and broken and distorted like me. So I do. I love that. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So now we've got a few more, but this is really where I think makers took concept to a whole nother level. All right. So where do you see this? This is like, I mean, when I first saw it, I did a double take, triple take, quadruple take. I text her. Vicki created this. So Vicki going from that bright reindeer retro thing to like, this is Vicki, very grungy. So this is using a square vignette box and 2 medium vignette boxes. She stacked it with wood slices, okay? Then she put like rusty wire screen. Can you see that on the back? So it is a little sharp. She said, be careful of that. Then she used a little tack nails. These are idea-ology. So I love how she hammered that screen. So the vignettes, yeah, you could take off the back. You probably have to deconstruct the box to reconstruct it. But in this case, it was totally worth doing. I love how she did the little torn papers where she's got the plaid. And then she used, I'm just going to flip this around. I'm just going to try to grab it. There we go. She used the backdrop. Then she used the collage paper in that pine cone. So it really creates such a cool look. Now, if you don't use a lot of collage medium, you can keep it white. So the more collage medium you use, the more translucent the paper becomes. The less collage medium you use on this paper, the more white it will dry, which is fine because see, I love how it just kind of fades and it goes into the white, which goes great with this plaid. Then she used a little clippings, a collection of Christmas trees, official Christmas tree, the largest Christmas tree, the best tree, the Christmas tree. Just so cool. Really, the nails and the wood slices, this is why I miss wood slices, but I loaded Vicki up. The year I knew they were retired, I sent her a ton of them, so she had them. But look how she made her own little tree lot. Oh my gosh. So these, I knew this, but these are Etcetera trims. We do little ziggity zaggity trims with Stampers Anonymous, and I love how she made the saw, and then we've got the trees that she tied up. She kind of took off the base where it is like a tree lot. That is fab. But then because this is where I'm like, I just need to know what you did so I can describe it without misspeaking. Okay. First off, we've got these lanterns. This is from idea-ology. These little lanterns, they come silver. You can paint them. It's part of the everyday line, but man, they make the great little Christmas ornaments. You can add a little tiny light or even put a little balloon light under there. They light up perfect. But look at this tree. This is what I had to message her about because I'm like, did you do what I think you did? And she's like, yes. Okay, I'm going to try to get the light. I'm not trying to make you dizzy. There, I'm going to stop it here. She made a tree starting with a woodland tree, but then cutting up the woodland garland and making like branches. Like, you know, when you get an artificial tree or you have a certain type of tree. And she stuck in all those little garland pieces into a tree to make a tree with branches. I mean, come on. That to me is like, yeah, I know woodland garland, but to like actually synchronize the idea of taking the garland, inking it the same with the tree, chopping it up or twisting it, and then sticking it in and making that tree. And then I love how she just added the pine cones. I mean, that is very cool. I can't wait to do that. I'm going to try that. I cannot wait to do it. And then we have these guys. Yes, these lumberjacks are the toy soldiers.
I love that.
They are the salvage figure soldiers that she turned into lumberjacks. She painted the beard. She took a little bit of felt and she kind of gave them little felt hats and made the little flaps. She painted the little, I mean, these are just stripes, but she added the little strips for suspenders. And then this plaid, this is where she took collage paper and stamp. We have a little plaid stamp and actually collaged these on. She tinted her collage medium red. That's what she told me, to make it really, really red. But she stamped this in black and now she made little plaid. Because you can't really stamp on something this uneven, but you can stamp on a plain piece of collage paper in black permanent ink, and then starting with red and then tinting your collage medium red, it just gave them, see, the perfect, I mean, they are hilarious. There you go. Now you can see them in all their glory. Fantastic idea, right? Who knew that you could take that toy soldier and turn it into a lumberjack? Can you just hand that guy to me? He's right in that muffin tin right there, Mario, please. Sure. See, he's right there in the corner. Thanks. Just so you can, thank you. Like, you see what I mean? I mean, come on. It's a start though, but she went with it. And I think that's so clever to transform that into that really, and especially like with the woodland tree, the lanterns. Brilliant, right? I love how you guys are just, it's so good. That's what I said. Any idea. You're just going to take one idea and be like, I'm going to make a tree lot. I'm going to try to make one of these trees. I'm going to do a lumber. Like, it's very cool.
That reminds me
Yeah.
when I hijacked your live.
Oh, yeah.
with that
For Lumberjack Plaid. Remember when Mario jumped in? That was so fun.
That was awesome.
All right. It was hilarious. It does remind me of that when you jumped into frame. So this next one, this is a book nook that Tami B created. Believe it or not, I mean, you can use vignettes. You can disassemble vignettes. You can just use pieces of chipboard. Tami does great tutorials, but I love how she made like these faux books using the plaid papers and making the strips. She has really awesome tutorials about how to create these. And look how she kind of scratches through paste to make it look like book pages. She's got tiny lights, but this is what she's created. Her own little, I mean, this is just a charming little Christmas street. So if you look in there, there's our little toy soldier. Look at how she lit up the lamp. So I'll hold that closer. So yes, she did go in and cut that out. Takes a little patience, but if you have a craft knife, I love how she cut between it and then diffused a little tiny light to actually light up that baseboard lantern. Wow. She used the brick backdrop. Then this is also really clever. She took that window and she sliced the window and made it like a whole wraparound, like a street. And she created that, and then she even created like this little window box where she did the same thing. She has the windows, she cut it and she made it come out. She added the little snow, the tiny lights. I love the little roof. I'm going to just kind of spin it at different angles just so you can, you know, kind of get a peek. But really this is like when you put it in the shelf. I mean, obviously you can put it in like books, but then take it out and slide it back into the bookshelf. Like that is your little book nook. I mean, come on. All right. So let's see if the lights, there we go. Here you can see more of like the soldier. You can see there's it's like a little shingled roof. It says confectionery. So there's little candies in the window. Gosh, if you could see it up close. I also love how she used kind of the leftovers to just make this little window up there. I love the little snowy night sky on the top. Then across the top of all that, she's got some pine and then a lot of snowfall grit paste. There's a little reindeer. I'm going to see if I go upside down. He's upside down, so just tip your head. Stand on your head. But you see back there, it's the only way I can get you to see it from the light. But see that little figure stand? I love that little hidden deer when you look in there. It is easier to see, but the light is casting such a shadow. But yeah, you can see him back there. I just think that's so cool. There's so much detail. Even in the shop windows, there's little Christmas trees in the windows, and there's a wreath made out of the garland on the door. Can you see that? Back there, there's a little wreath on the door as well, and some bell. Oh my gosh. It's just, I mean, full on detail. This is what I was saying about creating a scene. It's like a little street you would see in London where you're just going to kind of walk down, and even the ground. Let's see if I can get that lit up. See, she even did like grit paste crypt, and she used a little cobblestone stencil that I did with Stampers Anonymous and made that little cobblestone alleyway. I mean, that is London charm right there. A joyous Christmas. But see, even taking this idea, and you might be like, okay, well, I don't want to do a book nook, but the theme of it, you're like, I'm going to create this in a vignette box or on a tray, or I'm going to do this same idea inside a dome. The whole purpose of this is that to be inspired by the ideas and the theming and construct what you want to construct. It may not be a book nook. It may not be a vignette. It may not be a dome. It's just about creating the idea of how to utilize ideology, which is always brilliant. All right. This vignette Paula created, and this is using a lot of different vignette boxes. So we can kind of call them out where you can see there's the big square here. Then we have a little square, and then you have a big rectangle and a small rectangle on its side. But this is where you can take all of the boxes and just glue them. They don't have to be flush with one another. They don't. You can have little ledges however you want. It doesn't really matter front to back. It's just about balance. She does have some tiny lights. So I'm guessing, yep. Oh, wow, look at the colors. I love how it lights us up. Oh, look, there's a little wreath. There's that woodland wreath. So see, to get it flush, just trim off the back. Otherwise, it's going to stick out like a donut on a wall, and you don't necessarily want that. So just trim that with your scissors and kind of glue that, because nobody wants a donut on a wall. Oh, there's a lantern in there. See, she did hers green with a little bit of snowfall. I love that snowy layers in there. And then, oh, look at that. So that's one of the little hardware knobs. And this is the Etcetera trim where she did a little shingle roof or maybe you have a die that you want to create that. I love the festive marquee. Just look at that little pile of red bells. Just pause for a moment, and if you're like, what am I going to do with the holiday bells? Right there. You're going to paint them whatever color you want, and you're going to throw them in a pile and glue them like that because, well, that's just charming. She even got a little bit of glitter on there. I love that with the season's greetings in green. There's a tree. Oh, there's an urn. See? Let me pick up that. See that little urn back there? Perfect for a little tree. There's our little snowman. Moving down to the bottom. I love how she uses really, there's the plaid backdrops, but then using these layers, because they're almost like those old posters, right? Those old school posters, like even that you'd see at Disney, the attraction posters. That's what it reminds me of. And then I love how she used the alpine trees, did a little white snowy. I love that snowy texture. There's got like a little cotton and just like these little snowballs. There's some pine cones. So cute. And then down here, look at that. There's our Santa mug. He's kind of grunge. He's a little sparkly. We've got all the confections in there. 34th Street, little miracle on 34th Street. It just says 34th Street though, but I love it. And then figure stand. Love how she painted that. And then the smaller version of the salvage figures. That's why we did them in two sizes, because sometimes you need a big one for a lumberjack, and sometimes you just need a little one for the inside of a vignette. There's some bells, but it's all these little pieces that if they were prepped and you're building this, you don't have to stop and go, okay, let me add glitter to the candy cane. Oh, let me paint the bell. Oh, let me paint the snowman. You do those compartmental ideas all starting now. You do. Even if you have like 30 minutes, you're like, you know what? I'm going to spend 30 minutes and paint bells. Done. Or I'm going to do this and just glitter some candy. And whether you have a muffin tin or divided boxes, you have all these little elements. And then when you sit down to build, you just get to take these things that are already altered. You don't have to do it all from go, because otherwise it would take you probably now until Christmas to do it. And I think, creating these little scenes, and each one of these could be their own make. You saw at the beginning with Zoe, and we had that small little vignette, or when I use the back. You can just make one. But the idea of this is to show that if you have little ideas, don't be afraid to put them all together, because it still works. The whole concept, whether you do like a storyline like Luise did, where you have, the attic and the basement and the kitchen, or you just have little vignettes, like you're just peeking into it. It's not like you're creating a dollhouse where you have different rooms in the house, but you can certainly channel all of your ideas and put them together. I just think it's such an amazing, inspiring thing. I just love that wreath. Look at that. I love it. I was so happy we have garland. All right, we've got one more make that I'll share with you. This is what I was just going on about. This is compartmental making, okay, as a make. And when I saw it, it was absolutely brilliant. Stacy created this, so brilliant that I was like, can I please have this? I want this so bad, because this is like holiday happy. I'm going to tip it. I don't want everything to fall out, but it is made of 3 vignette boxes, the large square, and then 2 of the large boxes. That's why it is a good idea to buy multiples of vignette boxes, because there's only 1 of each size, and sometimes you want to use 2 of whatever size. But this is what she created. It's like your own little holiday shop, okay? She used this piece, that little sign that we have in layers. It says for Christmas decorations, 2 for $25. And it's like she created her own little holiday marketplace. But this is where it's like you create all the little trees that you want. And these things they'll come out. So you paint, and I love how she's got like the little straw in there. But you have all the trees, the color, the snowy, the garland, and then they're just shoved into a box and it's displayed. This one, she did all the little snowman, but look at the little tags she did. Look at these tiny little tags. It says, so this one's, I think, 15 cents. So it's all glittered in there. 15 cents she's tied on. Then she did, and I love really this, it's like the little Excelsior in there. Then she's got the little Santa, 15 cents, just tied on with string, and then he's glued onto a wood slice. So he stands up. And then down the middle, she has all of the salvage deer that are painted to look like wood. See that little bit of rock candy? Just dusted. The whole thing doesn't have to be covered. It's just so, like, it looks like it's a piece of wood, 15 cents. And she just did a whole section of them. They're all priced. So it's like your own little marketplace. But then after you do it, you're like, well, that's the make. So yeah, I painted 3 snowmen and 3 Santas and the deer, but that's my make. It's just done. And then over here, these are all the little boxes I was telling you about taking little wood cubes, covering them in paper and adding string, and then you have all these little presents. So this is something that you sit by the TV and you make a bunch of little presents. But then she filled up a whole compartment of presents. These, if you guys bought those small little idea-ology test tubes, just glass test tubes, here she filled it with mica. She filled it with mints and bells. She tied it on with a little candy cane and a bell. And I mean, they're wonderful. These could be ornaments. You could put a little screw eye in the top. But I also love how she just made little dividers and just pop these in. And then she's got, because, well, let's face it, if it's a stick or a wood slice, Stacy, like, I mean, just wood slices. Like, these are like seriously chunky. And I love them. And they're just there. So it could be something like, it could be like, okay, well, I'm going to take this wood slice and then I'm going to add a little tree from this. And then I'm going to add a Santa. And there you go. So this could even be the idea of, say, a holiday party. And your guests can actually, you know, start with something and pick little elements to make it. And they could glue this on. They could add a little snow. And there's their little take-home make. I mean, the ideas for this, it's like, when I saw it, my brain was just crazy, because I was like, I've never even thought of compartmental make as a make. And then all the possibilities and potentials of, this could be an office party, this could be a Christmas party, this could just be anybody coming over where you're like, oh, hey, I made some things. I'd like you to, you know, take a base and glue some things on. And they're kind of making it, but you did most of it. That's great. Or they're ornaments. I mean, there are so many different ideas, but when you put them all together, I really never thought of creating a display tray. I only did a muffin tin, obviously. I was really basic compared to this idea. But it's like there's beauty in simplicity. Not that this was easy. I'm sure this took weeks and weeks of painting and glittering and all that. But when you're in it, you just get to do it. And then you have it. And to me, like, that was like, I thought, what a great finisher, because that to me tells like everything about what idea-ology is about. It could be as simple and finished as you want, or it can be as complex as you want to make it and enjoy it. So really amazing job for idea-ology Christmas 2024.